Mute! Great! What a way to start the year. Hi, everybody. God, all the sub notifications just starting now that everything's gone live. Thank you, everybody. I guess there's a bunch of people who want to get in on the first stream of the year. I guess I qualify? Yeah, nothing came before this. Depending on what part of the year you're in, I guess. You could have been watching something else at some other time. Happy New Year, everybody. It's a bonus stream, and we're going to start the year off correctly with an anime roundup. I'm Beej. You're watching Loading Ready Run here on Twitch TV, or maybe you're watching this on the YouTubes somewhere, youtube.com/loadingreadyrun. If you like what happens today, that's on you, and you can help support what goes on here by going to patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. Pause for the thing to come up onto the screen. If you like what's happening here, but in other places, you can go to YouTube again, our main channel, and you can do a YouTube membership. That is the way that it is done, and that is the way that I'm supposed to say it. I also want to thank everybody for shopping at the store this year. I guess last year, this entire whole year. You go to store.loadingreadyrun.com. You can find all sorts of merchandise that we manufacture so that you can wear our logos and our funny stuff around and show people how much of a religion you are. I don't really know. It's a very simple logo, the kind of thing that would be great for that kind of thing. Oh, good. Windows wants to restart. Let me just snooze that forever and ever. I'm happy to see so many people here this morning. Well, it's the afternoon technically. Park my mouse somewhere so I don't lose it. And yeah, how does the anime roundup work? Well, it is, I'm going to go over everything from 2022 autumn, which on anychart.net, which is what we'll be using, they call fall. I'll be probably referring to it as the fall, I'm sure, as well. But yeah, 2022's autumn, which ended yesterday, technically. We go through the entire list of what was going on there, and I talk about what I watched, how I enjoyed it, if I enjoyed it. And then I always just skip over the stuff that I didn't watch, so good luck, Pat Bear. I saw you post in the channel. I see you there now. There are other people, of course, who do these roundups as well. Pat's one of them, and you can go check out what it is that they do on their channels. I'm not sure how any of that is going to work, and I'm not going to get into that here. That's not really what I'm supposed to be doing. But a reminder to everybody that if I didn't watch something that you watched, that never take that as a reflection on you as a human being. All I ask is that you be honest about, to admit to yourself why you watch the things that you watch, because remember, we all have trash taste. And if you were watching a thing and you're like, man, like, why didn't Beej like that thing? That's fine. Sometimes A, I don't have time, and B, that's not a thing that interests me. This year I watched a Gundam. Or am in the midst of watching a Gundam. I don't normally watch the Gundams, but we'll get into why in a minute. And yeah, I'm gonna play nice this time, in fact, for myself. I'm gonna set myself an hour from now. I need to take or rather more like 45 minutes. I will need to take my break. So we're just gonna start that right now. I've got a 45-minute timer, doing the thing. And that means we'll get through some of this. We'll take a quick break, come back and continue it all on. And then once we finish what happened in 2022 autumn, the next part of the show is to move on to 2023 winter and see what I might be watching this upcoming year. So yeah, I guess let's just get into it. I'm gonna try to teach myself to use the buttons this year if I can. Hey, the button worked, nice. So first things first, I don't think I've mentioned anything else. I know there's always like my little PSA at the top of the show, and I tried to get it right this time to be like, don't judge anyone for having weird taste, because of course you have it as well. And also, if you like watching bouncy booby, pornography, yaoi, whatever it is that you like. I don't care what it is. If you're into that, that's fine. Just be honest with you. You don't have to tell people that you're into it either, but you just have to be honest with yourself about why you like the thing that you like. I like smut as well. Be honest with yourself that it's okay to like smut as long as, you know, you don't have to pull other people into the smut that you like, because that's kind of not fair to other people. And we're just gonna go full screen because it looks even cooler. So we're starting with Yonnin Sorezoru Uso Tsuku, or The Little Lies We All Tell. I watched this. It was fine. It was aggressively fine, in fact. I had a good time watching it. I am partially greened. Damn, this shirt. I had a good time watching it. But it was like just straight kind of fine. Like, the story is about the four girls you see in the picture there. The ninja, the space alien, the Esper, and the boy in girl's clothes, who is not there by choice but makes friends along the way. It's very it says slice of life, and yes, it definitely is. It's very happy. Like, it's a fun, happy show, and there's nothing wrong with any of that. I need my Vaseline. There's nothing wrong with any of that. It was good. It's not great. It was just good. It was fun. It was the way Japanese comedies tend to be. And I don't know if I recommend it, but it sure was the thing that I watched this season. So we move on. Akiba Meido Senso, or Akiba Maid War. I did not watch this. And people be like, why not? It knows exactly what it is. And I'm like, yeah, it does. And I know what it is too. I didn't even watch the first episode. I just watched I watched the clip of the maid dance at the end of the first episode. And I was just like, I can't deal with comedy, over the top action thing. We'll talk about Chainsaw Man in a minute, but I couldn't deal with that. I was just like, this is not going to be my jam, I don't think. Maybe it's really good. I hope you enjoyed it. I think Ian watched it, and he recommended it to me. He's like, you should watch this. And I'm like, I already know, but I know that I'm not going to enjoy this, so I'm just going to move on. It's PA Works, too, which means it probably was animated pretty well and maybe had a great story, but was not my jam. Akuyaku Reijo nanode, Last Boss o katte mimashita. I watched this mostly because I believe I was also reading the manga of this, and let's get it right out of the way. The opening is a bop, but the ending is a banger, and that's great. The opening's really like high tension and like fun, and it's good. It's all happy and everything's great, and the ending is kind of dark and mysterious a little bit, but it's just the music's really good. And so I was like, yeah, I really liked both of those. Go watch if you can find the ending for this, which is I'm the villainess, so I'm taking the last boss, I think is what it was called. And other than the high school arc, which I was like, why did you do this? You did it because it's a trope, I get it, but oh my god, why did you do this? And I was just like totally let down by that. So anyway. She was the Eileen, the character. She's a lot of fun. She's interesting. I think she is definitely the whole villainous thing, and some of the little twists and turns. Like, oh yeah, I can see that. I'm kind of waiting for a villainous show to do it this way, but overall, good. Again, a good show. I had a fun time watching it. Moving on, Arknights Reime Zenso. I did not watch this. I don't play Arknights, so I don't care. Berserk Olgon Jidaihen Memorial Edition. I did not watch this. I'm not that interested in Berserk. The memeing is okay, but it's not. The story is not really my jam. So we will move on again. I know I'm going probably awfully fast for a lot of people, and so it's also like I'm kind of not reading the comments. But yeah. So oh goodness. I have a sneaking biological imperative. I'm sorry, everyone. We have to take a quick commercial break. I'll be back in a few minutes. I hate doing this right now, but I'll be back. Okay, we're back. Let's try that again. Well, not from the top. Let's just keep going from here. Thank you for your patience. Right. Bleach. No, I haven't been watching that in years. Anyway, moving on. Blue Lock, again, didn't watch that either. I've never really been that much of a sports guy, right? Like, there's a rare occasion, but yeah, not much of a sports guy. Didn't watch that. Wasn't that interested in the idea of it. Moving on. Yes, of course, because we're doing them in alphabetical order. So, Bocchi the Rock. If you have one show you can watch this season, this should have been one of them. This is like, I marked it as maybe I'm gonna watch this because I had no idea how this is gonna come out. If you read this, it's like, oh, this girl is learning how to play guitar because she dreams of being in a band, but she's so shy she's made a single friend. And everything about this feels like it's gonna be a very milquetoast kind of, it's, oh, I want to try a thing, but I'm so scared to talk to people, but maybe I'll do a thing. And that's not what this is. This is, oh man, this was so good. It was so good. And I have no idea if I already put it in my watching list or not, but it's going in there now. It's just, Bocchi's just like, okay, Hitori Goto, who is our pink-haired protagonist there, she doesn't do good with people. She's scared of people, and she has been since elementary school, and it's hard for her. And they let you know that it's hard, but the whole thing is a comedy the whole way. Like, that's the thing, is I'm like, wow, you managed to make social anxiety something that at least I can be like, oh, that hurts. Oh, my girl. Oh, but you're trying, and I feel so good for you. Okay, yeah. It's kind of like Kimi ni Todoke with, has a girl with social anxiety, and has that hard time with dealing with that, but they find a way to pull that all together, and it's very fulfilling. And there's the one that's actually called Hitori Bocchi no Maru Maru, something or other. I can't remember what it is. That one about a girl who's like, I don't have any friends, but I'm good. It's very Yonkaman. She's like, I don't have any friends, but I want to make friends. I'm going to try to make friends with everyone in my class. And it's like, oh, that feels good too, because it's like, at least it's trying to be upbeat about the whole thing. I've tried to read Watamote. It's Your Guys' Fault I'm Not Popular. I got about 4 chapters into it from the very beginning. Then I skipped to chapter 200 and was like, wow, it's a completely different series. And it is. I don't know if it got a soft reboot or something happened in the middle or whatever, but I was like, wow, I think I like the series better later. Do I have to read all 200 chapters to get there? I don't know. But let's focus on Bocchi the Rock. The songs are great. Like, the songs are great. And I'm really happy about that, because other than one of the ending songs having synth in it, and I was just like, did they pull in a session keyboardist? Because they're crediting the band with the one playing it. Like, if you read the credits at the end, I think all of them all say Kessoku Band, which is the name of their band, which is a zip tie. Kessoku Band is a zip tie. And the logo's top notch. Oh my God, that's so good too. But I'm like, everything, like, all of the songs are good. The opening sequence is great. The ending sequence is great. All the ending sequences are great. They're just so like gratifying, and the show itself is gratifying because you're watching somebody trying to navigate having social anxiety, but also trying to like do something, and you're watching all the tricks and the plays to be like, well, okay, I don't know how to deal with people. I'm afraid of people. But what I can do is, her whole dream is, I'm just gonna learn to play the guitar because I saw a guy on TV who said he was introverted, but he was part of a band and everybody loved him and everybody else in the band. And so it's like, that's the path to making people like me, is I should do this. So she locks herself up in her room practically, not really, but she goes into her closet with her dad's guitar, her dad's $7,000 Gibson, and teaches herself guitar. And I mean, if you're gonna play on something, play on like a good instrument. That's kind of the answer. There's a point where it's like, when you're learning to play instruments. It's like playing a starter instrument for a while, but at a certain point, you got to try to make a jump to the nicer instruments, and that's for a reason. It's like whether it's guitars or saxophones, and in my experience, let me tell you, in both of those cases, when you make the jump, you feel yourself freeing and opening up, that your abilities actually starting to come forward more. So anyway, and the Gibson would be a punishing pick, I'm sure, to play with. But yeah, she at least is playing on something that's like, this is like a top tier instrument, as opposed to like, not. But anyway, there is a reason why this has resonated with so many people, and why we see memes of it everywhere, is because like the animation is astounding. Like they're making picks that are, they're going outside the realm of, they're not coloring within the lines. They're going outside the realm of standard animation sequences. I did watch a brief thing where somebody was like, oh, this show has done things that nobody has ever done before. Like, did you see that part where they did live action, like stop motion animation style things, or they did 3D rendered animation? I'm like, yes, things that anime have never thought to do before. So we are that old, ladies and gentlemen, that nobody remembers the 90s. Fine. But yeah, it's such a treat to see, like, we're going to do a little papercraft here. We're going to do a little bit of like live motion, whatever, just to be like, when we hit the things in Bochi's mind, that she has these different, she has these different reactions. And when she's like freaking out on the ground, when she's like having this like, and there's a great clip of her doing that. And they're basically drawing her all scrimblow. And it's like, and her friends are like, oh, Bochi's doing a thing again. Like, they're concerned, but they're like, we've become used to this. And I'm like, you have made the best friends in the world are people who, and maybe it's a little more mercenary because they just want to have a really good guitarist in their band, but also they're like, oh, she's doing that thing again. That's too bad that's happening to her. Well, keep an eye on her and help her come out of her thing. And I'm like, you have instantly found amazing friends that are willing to find a way to deal with your social anxiety. Even if they can't help you through it, at least they're willing to be there for you. And I'm like, that's really good too. That's really sweet in its own, in all those ways. I'm like, oh God. So if you haven't watched this, I can understand why you couldn't if you have social anxiety or you relate too heavily to Bochi. But it does have a happy ending. All of it does. Like, it's a comedy for one thing, but also it is feel good in a lot of way. And for me, like, I love watching a music show when they are willing to give you the music. And in the second last episode, they're just starting their concert, and it ends on Nijika, who's the blonde one on the drums. You just see like her with the sticks you just see the sticks in the air. You don't even see her. You just have like an upshot of her, the sticks in the air. She goes 1, 2, 3, 4, and it cuts to the closing credits in time with the closing credits. And I'm like, that was great. But man, am I mad, because now I don't get to see what the concert looks like. And that's probably going to be a trick that we're doing, is that the last episode is going to be like, oh, and the concert was over and we moved through whatever. And the last episode starts with, they're going 1, 2, 3, 4, and this concert begins, and you get to see the concert, and they sing the songs in their entirety. And I'm like, oh, you did it. You did the thing that pisses people off so much, or you did the not thing. You did the opposite of the thing that pisses people off. And it's like, I want to see the band play, and I want to feel the reaction to their music, and I want to watch the audience react to the music, and I want to watch the concert. Give me the concert. Like, there will be a live, if there hasn't already been, there will be a live concert, I'm sure, of all of this stuff, and they will do it. And I'm just like, yeah. So this was great. This is like in my top 5 this season. It was the one that I was always looking forward to playing, and I want to sit down and watch this thing, but I would always be like, don't do it first. Watch the mid-tier stuff. Save this. You're gonna want to watch you're gonna really want to watch this to kind of like, excite you about the rest of the season. So don't watch the mediocre stuff. Watch this like last for the night, or like second last. And yeah, anyway. They call her Bochi because Hitori Bochi is like someone who's by themselves. It's like Hitori Bochi is it's a person who's all by themselves, because Hitori, it's one, and Hitori Goto is, I believe it's single person. It's like an individual person. That's the pun there. I don't think all the other names are puns, but it's they call her Bochi as kind of a. They explain it in like the first or second episode. All I can say is that, and again, I understand if you can't watch it, but if you can watch it, like if you're like, yeah, I don't mind this so much, but if you can identify with it, that's great. But if also, I guess if you're like me, if you're like identify it with it, but not so much that it's like tearing me to pieces, then I guess it's, then you'll get through it. So God, it was just so good. And I kind of want to go back and watch it again. I think that's the killer part, where it's like, I want to go back and watch this again. And I haven't had that with a show in a very long time. I hope they make more. I hope they decide to make more. I don't know what they will do. Because even the fact that we get to see the concert, that isn't the culmination. That's the opening of the last episode. There's other stuff past that. And I love that too, because it makes me feel like we know that this is not, that might be the climax in some ways, but that's not what the show is about. Is we made it to the concert. The show is about, we're making it as a band. We have more to go. And I'm just like, yeah. So yeah, I hope we see more of this. If they find a way to make that work. Maybe a second season just ends up feeling like more of the first season. And that would be fine too. Like maybe nothing new happens as a result. And I would hate to feel like they're retreading old ground by just being like, and the same thing happens again. And, Bochi has her fits and there's whatever else. And it's like, yes, but maybe there is more that you can wring out of it to make it interesting. But anyway, we'll move on. I don't watch My Hero Academia, so I will not have watched this. I hope you've enjoyed it if you have seen it. That part of the thing, I feel like the only thing that's actually, I thought about this the other night, the only thing that was really trying to drag me into watching this at all is Miruko. That's the only reason that I would be interested at all. Is this just, she seems like she's 7 feet tall. I have no idea how tall she is. I just always see her in drawings and stuff, in pinups and whatnot, let's be honest. And I'm just like this buff rabbit girl. I'm just like, oh, I like her. She seems awesome. I don't know anything about her character. I just know that she's huge and she looks like she's ready to kick the shit out of people. And I think Jade Cargill on AEW cosplayed her one time, and it was like bang on. And it was like, yeah, okay, all of this, great. What a thing to be horny over. Anyway, moving on. Danshi. I don't think I remembered about this. It's a horror thing. Would have been something I wouldn't have watched then. So we'll move on from there. Chainsaw Man. Right. I'm in a weird position with this. I don't know if I can watch anymore. I watched I watched the first episode and was like, right, yes, I remember. I read like the first 10 or 12 chapters or whatever I had access to at the time, and I was like, okay, this is quite the thing. It's very compelling. And generally a popular series, your first 10, 15 chapters, maybe even your first 3 or 4 volumes of a manga are very compelling. Because I guess it's fair. The first 5 chapters of anything is usually pretty compelling because the mangaka's trying to get everything down on the page. And then they run out of ideas. And this really seems like there was a lot more. There was I've been thinking about things I've been wanting to do with this for a long, long time. But that puts me in an interesting position with Chainsaw Man, because I was like, okay, well, I read the first 10 chapters and that's fine. And I was like, I can't read any more of this. I think it's because it wasn't available for free wherever I was reading it anymore past that. I'm like, okay, but I can watch the show and I will see where this goes. And I watched the first 3 or 4 episodes of this, and it follows what I remembered from the manga pretty well. And again, it's just a disconnect between when I watched it, so maybe there are differences. I don't know, but I was like, wow, yeah, it is definitely very graphic. There's definitely a lot going on. It is, it's, the horror tag is earned for this. It's funny in its own way as well. and there's lots of action, and the animation is like, man, there's so much action. There's, the animation's really quite good. And I think I stopped after like the third or fourth episode because I was just like, I can't watch anymore right now. It's so much, like I can only maybe watch like one a night anyway. So then it starts building up a backlog, and I'm like, okay, I have to sit down and watch a little bit more. So I watch another one. I'm like, okay, but now I have to know what happens, because they're very good at ending kind of like on a point where it's like, I want to see what the fallout of that thing you just said was. And I'm like, that's really good writing. Like when you can say, I need this to go here so I can, make people want to watch more. So it's like, okay, I will watch the next one. And so I watched like maybe 2 in a row or 3 in a row to kind of catch up. I'm like, okay, cool. And then I watched an episode 8, and it's like, hey, all these, okay, the culmination of the end of a thing, and that's good, but rather than end at that point, we're like, well, now we're gonna flash forward like a week or 2 or whatever, and we're gonna have something else happen that is awful. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can watch anymore from this because this part is awful. Okay, I'll put it aside. So then last night, 2 nights ago, 30th, whatever it was, I watched episode 9, and I was like, okay, okay, that's interesting. And then was episode 9 the one where you get to see Makima's powers? I think so. Whatever it was, I watched that one, and I was like, okay. Boy, that's still a lot. That still feels like a lot. I'm gonna just put this aside again, and if I feel like coming back to it and watching more, then I will. But man, do I really want to do more of this or not? And yeah, so I just like, it's hard. I think you have to look at the tags, or you have to like read the first chapter of the manga, which is maybe safer than watching it animated if you're that kind of person where it's like, I can read something a little faster, not feel as affected as watching it like acted out in front of me. But yeah, like it's so compelling. It really is. And I don't like that it's so compelling because it wants me to keep watching more, and I'm just like, I don't like, okay, actually, Septile Solar Bean has a really good take on this, I'm pretty sure. If they're talking about Chainsaw Man, it's a perpetual trauma machine. And that's what I feel, is that I'm like, yes, I'm being given these traumatic moments, and then it's like, then we'll give you some catharsis, but don't worry, we're gonna give you more trauma, but don't worry, we'll give you some catharsis. And I'm like, I think that's why I don't want to watch more of it. It's like other shows that I've seen that are like this, and I'm just like, but it's so compelling, and I'm not normally a person who's really into that. So yeah, I might just drop it. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. That's why I got the question mark in there, right? It's like, maybe I'm watching this. It's like, maybe I am. I have been watching so much of it, and maybe I am watching it, or maybe I'm stopping. I mean, it says 12 episodes have aired. If there's another cour coming, then there's another one coming. It doesn't say that there's like 12 of 26 or whatever has happened. So, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I fall on this thing, and I don't know if I can recommend it as a result. It's really good at what it does, but do I want to watch more is always the hard part, because that's kind of what makes me feel like I want to recommend it. So, moving on. Do eat Yua Serufu, because Yua Serufu is the name of that girl right there. Yua Serufu-chan, right down there. This show is very cute. It is very cute. I am glad I watched it. It is pretty fluffy. It doesn't concern itself with much else. It's kind of nice to just watch, like, hey, I am this face. I am this face all the time. This is my personality is this, and now I have power tools, and I'm not good with them either. But I'm learning, and that's kind of the whole point of this. Is it's, do it yourself, and it's for teenagers who have never done this stuff before, and they're learning how to do it, and they are guided through it thanks to the senpai who operates the DIY club. And then there's the one of the girls from the other school. There's two schools, a very high tech trade school and a very low tech trade school that are basically on the same city block, that share like a border across the block. And there's this one who is like a monkey ninja kind of girl, and there's this one who is the unrequited love of this. It's hard to say. These two are definitely, they're the shipping material for this one. There's this girl who is the very sweet, hey, I've read all of this one manga that is fantastic, who will inevitably be paired up with the senpai, who is kind of the more rough and tumble. Yes, craft lesbians. Thank you, brownie points. Craft lesbians. And then there's this one who is the pair up for her, who is the one who is like a little more rough and tumble, but she's also still a girl, so don't forget about that. That I like girly things sometimes. And then there's this one, Jobko, who I just absolutely can't stand it. I'm not a fan of her whatsoever, and because the English, because I'm like, for one thing, she has a ridiculous name, and I'm like, okay, fine, that's great. And I feel like you're doing that to make fun of people who give characters ridiculous English names, because she has Queen Elizabeth in her name. But also, she speaks English perfectly. You can tell because it's terrible. That's how good her English is because it's absolutely awful. And I'm like, I get that it's hard when you're looking for someone to hire. You're like, oh, you know, it'd be cute. Let's get her in there, and she'll say a whole bunch of English words all the time, and she'll say them in the way that matches the voice that she's doing in Japanese. And I'm just like, you have to, like, you just, for God's sakes, it doesn't sound good at all. It straight doesn't. And that's maybe really harsh to hear, especially if you're the VA and you were told that it's like, oh yeah, you're doing a great job. Good job. And I'm kind of like, if you want us to believe that it's the future and that this girl speaks perfect Japanese and also speaks perfect English, you should try to hire somebody who, you know, speaks perfect English and speaks good enough Japanese, like speaks both languages fluently. That's what takes me out of series like this all the time, whenever it's like, oh, don't worry, this guy who's from America, and then you can tell that it's a German guy speaking English who happens to also speak Japanese or whatever. I'm just like, that doesn't work. I hate this so much. So anyway, yeah, but the series is great. It really is. It's really fun. And it's very light. And there are these, it's just like, boy, some of these relationship problems would be solved if you would just talk to each other. And there's no actual Yuri going on here. It's all gloss. It's all like, hey, you know, like, you can ship these girls together and that'll be fine. It's like, yeah, you definitely gave people a lot of like hooks to hang their hat on, but yeah, none of that's actually clear in the show or anything else. So this is just being about having fun and eventually building a treehouse. Moving on. Fumetsu no Anatae Season 2, you say. I didn't watch this. I don't even know what it's about, but I didn't watch it. Because also it's Season 2, so I probably wouldn't have watched it in the first place. Futoku no Guild. No, didn't watch this either. It's funny when it's like, Kikuru Madan is a monster hunter with excellent performance. Oh, because of his particular job. So his particular job, is that our main character with half black, half white hair way in the back that maybe has an expression, or maybe they didn't bother to draw it because they're too busy drawing all of the girls that are part of his harem. I'm sure this is how this, yeah, look, the ecchi tag. And I'm just like, yeah, so I didn't watch that. And maybe this is really good. I don't know. Does she have bear ears? I think she's supposed to have bear ears. Is she a centaur? She seems like she's supposed to be a centaur. I can't see her legs, but that's maybe because you're not supposed to give a shit. I don't know. This has feathers, so she's probably a bird one, and she's definitely a cat one, and this one here is probably an actual person one. You know how it is. But yeah, moving on. Hoo ijo koibito miman. Didn't watch this. This is that whole, hey, we have to go live in an apartment building in high school with somebody else because we have to pretend to be a couple. No, I saw the premise. I was just like, wow, premise. And I was like, yeah, never mind. So I didn't watch it. Hope you enjoyed it if you did. But yeah. Golden Kamuy fourth season. I know people are watching Golden Kamuy. I was reading it for a while. Dropped at a certain point because it got violent in a way that I didn't like, and that felt really rough. And I mean, part of what throws me is like, oh, all of these guys have maps tattooed onto their bodies. So what if we just took their skin from them kind of idea? When that stuff comes up, I'm like, oh yeah, I can't handle that. That's hard for me to handle. I didn't know, which sucks because Golden Kamuy is really cool because it's, it's old Hokkaido and it's got Ainu people in it and all those kind of just like, yeah, do more, focus on your lost indigenous people. This is Japan, get excited about the fact that you have an indigenous culture that is different than the ones who are living there and celebrate that and learn more about that. And, that can be fascinating. So, I mean, fascinating is like a weird thing for a white guy to be saying about indigenous culture, right? So, but it's like, but learning more about that, I think is really cool, and coming to understand it and understand how it, but you have an also really shitty history with indigenous people like my country does. So, yeah, maybe there's a lot of that there too. But Golden Kamuy as a story is interesting. I just had to drop it. I think it was actually in the Murder Hotel where I was like, no, I have to drop it here. I think we're just like, nope, can't do it, can't do that. And I just walked away from it. I think that was where it really got me. And I was like, okay, done. But if you're watching it, I hope you enjoy it. Human Bug Daigaku. I did not watch this. I was thinking about watching it. I didn't go get it. I want to watch it because I want to see what the first couple episodes play out as. I think Ian's got copies of this. I might try to watch it, but I didn't actually watch it, so I don't know anything about it. So, yeah. Moving on. Idolish 7 Third Beat. Didn't watch that. It's part 2. Also didn't want to watch the first one either. Kage no Jitsu Ryokusha ni Naritakute. Didn't watch that either. Move on. Kankole. I don't know anything. Kantai Collection. So I didn't watch this. Kido Senshi Gundam. Suisei no Majo, or The Witch from Mercury. So I was getting really mad at this. And I'm watching this, and I really like this. And I should have added this to my watching list, so we'll just say that it's in my watching list. So, but I was getting super mad at this, and maybe you would be too, because this was put to me as, hey, guess what? It's Utena but Gundam. Like, not even Utena but Mechs, right? You say Utena but Gundam. And there's a prologue that I didn't know about. There was a prologue thing. It's a sequel to a thing that had a prologue. Maybe I'll have to try to track that down. I don't know. It's a new girl, Suletta Mercury, who is, again, there's this thing about, wow, look at all the Scrimblow girls that have been put into. I love Tumblr because I don't understand most of the phrasing and whatnot, all the slang, but Scrimblow seems to come up an awful lot. Anyway, there's like multiples of those girls this season. There's Bochi, there's Suletta, and there's what's her name from Chainsaw Man. So anyway, Suletta comes to this school, the Astakasi. They all have terrible names. The School of Technology, which is just a giant floating arc in the middle of space, and everyone has mobile suits there. And so she shows up, and she's the daughter of somebody who's part of this larger group of it's a huge group of people who make technology. Part of what they do is also everybody makes their own mobile suits. I don't know who they sell them to because it doesn't sound like there's a war going on currently. The Spacians hate the Earthians. The Earthians hate the Spacians as well. The Earthians are so fun in this show. Choo Choo is an absolute hero. It's a new Tana show that has a Choo Choo in it again, so here we go. And she shows up in a Gundam, but Gundams are forbidden. Gundam is forbidden. And she shows up in Ariel, who she swears is not a Gundam. And everyone's like, no, it must be a Gundam because it has Permet level 6 and everything is in Gund format. And we are causing race condition overwriting brain type function. What? It's all this bullshit that doesn't matter. that I've never seen in a single Gundam series before. And I don't watch a lot of Gundam, but holy shit, was there a lot of stuff that doesn't make any fucking sense. And I hate that, but it's like, oh, it's all terminology and Tomino wants you to say it. And so you do. And I'm just like, wow. So anyway, it's all this is happening. And I'm just like, cool. What I'm here for is hey, look, there's Miorine. She's the bride. I'm here for a girl coming along and winning her over as the bride. But it turns out that she is the driven, angry one, and she is the shrinking violet. And you can tell their hands are outreached and they're excited to see each other. Why? Because the key art sure fucking says it, but the show never lets you know that. There's a whole bunch of stuff in this show that goes on for a while that's just like, hey, these two girls, don't forget, they like each other. It's in the closing credits. You can tell that there's a relationship coming on here. And I complained to Ian about this because I was like, this fucking show that said it was Utena and we're getting 12 episodes of it, and I have seen nothing in this show so far that lets me know that these two even kind of like each other. And he said, no, it's coming, don't worry. Also, we're getting 26 episodes. I'm like, okay, that makes a little more sense then. I'm willing to let anything play out over a period of time if there's something coming. Because again, in Utena, we had 39 episodes. And while there's all this weird ceremony and circumstance, which again, this Gundam does have that as well. Lots of ceremony, lots of high school bullshit. Lots of everybody in the high school runs things, like all the high school students run the high school the way they want to see the high school run. And the adults are just nowhere to be found. And fine. But there's something about when you watched Utena that was like, you could tell there was something happening between Anshi and Utena slightly. And you couldn't tell if it was because Anshi wanted that to happen, that she was interested in that from Utena, or if that she's just that way because she seems to kind of be that way with every groom, right? As the Rose Bride, she gets to be that way with everybody. And so that's just kind of, I'm fulfilling my role. And that's what makes everyone angry, is that, oh, she's also such a doormat. And it's like, yes, I can understand why that would make people very angry. Miorine, the object of affection to be won, she is not a doormat. And that does make her very interesting to watch. But you kind of end up wishing that there was any part of her that seemed that she was interested in making this happen at all, and didn't just seem like, thank God you won me as you're now the holder. I love that again, that name, but also the outfit changes to reflect the fact that you're now the holder. That's why Soletta's in a white uniform. That she's like, thank God you're doing this, because hey, it doesn't, because they're very upfront about it. It's like, yeah, girls can be the groom too. We live in a society. And Soletta's like, what? That's okay? And Miorine like, yeah, where the fuck have you been? It's the space future. That's what we do now, is that boys and girls can marry boys and girls, and it's fine. And so in all of that, also everybody only has one parent, which is also another thing. But it's just like, even there's an episode where Miorine really does something to kind of be like, I'm going to defend my girl, right? Like that kind of thing. It really also comes off as, I'm going to defend my girl because I need that for a strategic reason as well. And then you start to feel like, is this all calculation to her? Now, you could also argue that in Utena, it's like, for Anshi, it's like, well, is everything going on with the dueling for the Rose Bride, is all of that calculation as well? Ultimately, is she's fulfilling a role that Akio has given her to do, and I always forget how I can see it clear as day how Utena ends in the series, and I always forget what the implications of it are, and I probably need to go watch the last 2 or 3 episodes again just to kind of keep driving it home. This is how this show ends. Don't forget this. And I'm like, I want more of the relationship to become more obvious, to feel like there is something there. And yes, I am caught up now, and I know that we have since seen something that makes it more obvious. And I'm like, good, thank you for this. I appreciate it. If you are leading this into context as opposed to subtext, I'm more than happy to keep watching this show. But yeah, Oh, that's interesting too. Tide Hollowcat says, I love how this show is kind of following the plot of Shakespeare's The Tempest. I'm gonna have to take a break here pretty quick. We're gonna just stop that. We got a couple minutes before I have to take a break. But yeah, I'm gonna now have to go look at my cliff notes for The Tempest. It's been a while since I've read The Tempest. It was university, so it's been like 20 years. But the show now, is the show interesting? Yeah, I think it is. I think the animated sequences are great. I think the fighting is very interesting too. I think the whole the whole nature of this is what we're doing here. It's like so much of the show is built around the dueling, and I'm like, great, that's fine. But a lot of it, the thing I don't really like, but I can understand why, is the adults having their own thing going on. The adults who are all CEOs of their companies taking an incredible interest, because they have to, taking an incredible interest in the goings-on of a high school. Because every time you see really highly placed CEO adults in anime, for whatever reason, they're always distant from their kids. They're always very distant, and they're not interested in what their kids are doing wherever. But because this show, all the political movements, every kid is a pawn, except for the kids that realize that they're pawns and they decide, yeah, but what if I wasn't a pawn? What if I was controlling all the pieces? So maybe I should be doing something about that. And that's interesting too. I just kind of wish that we didn't have to keep going back and forth to the adults world so much, because it's a separate, even though it's a story that has impact on what's happening here, and I guess we need that to kind of keep this story being told the way that it is. I'm just like, it's the least interesting parts for me, is all the shucking and jiving and political finagling and stuff, and I'm gonna kill this guy, well then I'm gonna kill this guy, and I'm just like, it's about what if it's about war between factions, but it isn't it's the coldest of wars, because it's a business war. And that's kind of what gets me, is I'm like, it's a war fought with money. It's not a war fought with mechs, except that the war is fought with mechs, but it's fought in duels. And you know what? I will say, good on the story writers. Tomino's behind this. I don't know if he is, but if good on the story writers for saying, I'm going to focus on something, a war for once, that has nothing to do with out and out armies fighting each other. Like that, I want conflict that is not built out of shooting somebody in the head with a laser cannon. And this is another way to do that, to illustrate high stakes conflict that is not based around that. And Ariel's a neat mech. I like Ariel a lot as a it's like, oh, this is cool. This is a new take. I don't watch Gundam normally, so it's fun to watch some of that stuff. But yeah, it's fun. It's good. I would say go watch it. I hope that everything that's happening, that we're gonna have like, I'm seeing Gekyoru says they said the school life is ending. So if the school aspect of this is going away, I don't know how I feel about that, but I guess we'll see what happens, right? So wait on the next core. So happy to see where it goes. I'm watching it. I like it. I like it better now that I'm actually seeing some emotional resonance between the characters, and I think that's really what I needed, is that in Utena, the emotional resonance is obfuscated by the machinations and the symbolism. So it's hard to see where there's like a burgeoning relationship. But then you do see that relationship, but it's also made out to be weird and with lots of symbolism and whatnot. It's not overt. So the fact that this isn't overt, I'm like, okay, fair. Now I'm going to take my proper commercial, because I need to. and I'll be back in about 3 minutes. So stick around. I will be right back once I figure out where the commercial button is. All right. Gotta remember to keep pulling my mic back up. Hi, everybody. Back on the bonus stream here from our Beej's Anime Roundup. We just finished talking about the Gundam series, and now we are talking about the other thing I watched that I really enjoyed. Again, another one where I was like, was I going to watch this? After the first episode, I should have been like, I'm definitely watching all of this. So Kokyu no Karasu, or what do they call it again? Raven Consort of the Inner Palace, something like that. It always starts the same way. Yes, deep within the Inner Palace lives a special consort who does not serve the Emperor despite her position as a consort. She is known as the Raven Consort. She does not do nighttime visits. This was great. This was fun. Oh my god. I watched this because I was kind of thinking about the pharmacist's, they call it the monologue? No, it's like the pharmacist's diary? No, the pharmacist's monologue maybe is what they call it. God, I know the Japanese name, Koryoku, so I can't remember what the hell it is. Anyway, the Apothecary Diaries, thank you, Septile Solar Being, yes. The Apothecary Diaries is a great manga. There's 2 different takes on it. They're both a lot of fun. I like the one where Mao Mao is actually drawn like she's like, that she doesn't look like she's 16 years old, even though I think she's supposed to be. I like the one where she's drawn a lot shorter because I think she's a lot more interesting as a character that way. Plus, it's also been scanlated way further than the other one. But they're both very interesting, and I think they're really good takes. And they tell, essentially, they're telling the same stories because it's based on a novel or light novels or whatever it's based on, but it's good. But this is not that. This is different. But again, very like this takes place in, old China during whatever dynasty this might be, except this is not really old China. This is not like when you see the map and stuff and what the world looks like, I'm kind of like, I don't think any of that's really supposed to matter here. But what we do know is there's magic involved in this as well. And I just really like the idea of it's a mystery and it takes place in like Imperial China feeling kind of era. And I think that, I forget, Shogetsu, what's her name? Christ. This is the tough part about this, is that the Shojue, is that how they say her name? This is the only thing I hated about this show, was that all of the characters have names that when pronounced in Japanese do not match whatever we were given them in English, which makes it very hard to follow when somebody is saying somebody's name. And holy crap, does that suck. Let me see here. I just want to be sure that that's... There we go. And man, does it bug me, because I'm hearing people talk and then I'm hearing them say names and then I'm seeing on the screen not even a close name, a completely different name. And whether that's because in Chinese you would say it this way, this is the right way to say it, that is the proper name of that character, as far as the Chinese are concerned, versus what it is in Japanese. And I'm just like, I don't like that is the way that goes. But what I can tell you is this is a fun show about a girl that gets put in a position of, having to be, she has to be alone is kind of the thing. It's what she's been told. Nobody really knows anything about the Raven Consort, but that she's kind of always been around. And also there's a bit of story about the family that came before. They all have white hair, and how that ties into the mysticism and the magic and stuff. But ultimately what this breaks down into is like, there's a bunch of magic and a bunch of ghosts and a bunch of that kind of stuff, but don't worry, because the Raven Consort also has magic because of who she is and the gods that she serves and all that kind of stuff. I really liked it. I thought it was light. It was it was interesting. There are lots of murders and lots of dead people, so it's not that light, but it isn't like, it's not like a grimdark series. It's not like everything's going to shit. And you're just seeing this kind of transformation of a character as well at the same time. You're seeing growth in the Raven Consort because of who she is, and seeing who she ends up becoming. And if they made more of this, I would definitely watch more of this. I don't know if they will. It's based on a light novel. Maybe that's just something that's going to go on forever and ever. Who knows? Feels like there's probably lots here. But I had a good time, and if they made another crew of this, I would watch it definitely, because I like that kind of thing. I like it when it's like the contrivance of the show. Yes, it's a mystery, and we tell it within the framework of what's going on in the show, and with the, you know, the accompanying setting and cultures and stuff that we need to make it apply to that. But still, ultimately, it is a show about these mysteries, and what better way to solve ghost mysteries than with somebody who also has mystical powers? Because that's something that we can, like, I can actually do something about that. And it's not just, there's a ghost. Oh, wait, it wasn't for you meddling kids. It's like, it's none of that kind of stuff. Oh, there's a ghost. It is literally a ghost, and it's creepy and scary. And we don't like that, but we need to find out why there's a ghost. And that's the more interesting thing, obviously, is like, how did this person die? Why did they die? Who did this to them? Did they do it to themselves? Anyway, it's good. I really enjoyed it. I would watch more if there was more. Mairimashita, Iruma-kun. 3. I didn't watch the other 2. I've heard people say this is great. Awesome. I'm glad you've enjoyed it. Just, though, this gets me. The 3rd season of this time it's the jungle, and I'm like, oh, the Iruma-kuns are going to Paris. Like, it's like, is that really what this show is? I don't know. I really don't know. But I mean, fucking, it's tournament season. I'm just like, no, maybe I'm good that I didn't watch this because I am not the tournament guy. So they should just have a tag that's just like tournament fighter. And it's just like, yeah, who fucking cares about tournament fighters? It doesn't matter. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. Pat, you're enjoying it. I'm so happy. So I hope it runs forever and that everyone gets to enjoy it and continue to watch it. So we'll move on. Megaton Q, Musashi, Season 2. Didn't watch this because obviously Season 2 is something I didn't watch. Moving on. Mob Psycho 103. I didn't watch this. And everyone's freaking out in the chat. No, they're not. I read Mob Psycho 100 to like chapter 70 something or whatever. Like, I feel like I read a lot of it. And definitely it's when you read it, it's like, one, the mangaka definitely had a feel for, I am doing a shonen send-up. Like, I'm using the tropes and what if this, but then, you know, bigger. And I mean, One Punch Man is kind of the same thing. Is it one? Is it actually literally the person who does both of them? Or am I messing up names? Because I always remember the name Hero as well, but I think Hero is a mangaka who did something completely different. I think they did like, I can't remember the name of it now. It's good though. It'll come back to me later. It's somebody's son and Miyamoto-kun. Anyway, yeah, one did both. Thank you. Okay. So, but I read like the 70 odd chapters of this and got to this point for wherever I was, and I was just like, I can't do any more. Like, it was a cult story and the cult arc or whatever, and I was just like, I think I'm done with reading this because I don't, like, I've been waiting to see what's going to happen. Like, I think everybody else was waiting to see what was going to happen. Like, well, at what point does Mob actually reach 100? Like, and then what happens? And then you get to see it and you're like, okay, cool. And I just kind of like dropped off, and maybe it is interesting in a way that like really grabbed a lot of people, and I think it just didn't get its hooks into me, and I just couldn't keep going with it. So yeah, but by and large, if you are enjoying this, I think it's great that both One Punch Man and Mob Psycho 100 actually got anime. I think it's amazing that Mob got 3 seasons, and One Punch Man isn't like isn't, maybe it is done technically, right? It's like, you know, but just like, yeah. So I fell out of this, and I don't think that means that it's bad. I just think that it means it wasn't for me, because everybody I see talk about it, they rave about how much they love it, and it's not just like people being like, yeah, that this show is awesome, but I won't watch Ava because why would you put a robot in high heels, and that fucking sucks, and Shinji should, you know, you should bulk up and you should be a man, and like those kind of guys who watch anime where I'm like, yeah, wow, my guy, oh, you're a lot, okay. You know, I don't think that's the case here. I think that that all sorts of people are watching this and are really enjoying it, and that's great. So, but I did not, so I move on. Mushikaburi Hime, known as the Bibliophile Princess for her unquenchable love of books. I don't know if I said I was going to watch this or not. I think because it was a drama romance, I just didn't want to. Also, you know, lots of boys. I guess, yeah, I think I just didn't feel like I wanted to watch this. And oh, okay, there are, you know, I see somebody in chat, Lamina, saying that they enjoyed it, they had a good time with it. Yeah, it feels like, and Benobi and like other people, and it's like, good, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, this just, I saw it scroll by the one time and then just completely fell off my radar and didn't think about it. Big drink. But good. I'm glad that people enjoyed the show. I'm sure it's not, if it's a proper romance, I'm sure the other handsome boys aren't getting involved, but hey, maybe they do, and that, I don't like a romance that is so melodramatic, based around, okay, I really like Marmalade Boy, but I think I like Marmalade Boy because it was the first and maybe the only real melodrama that I watched, like animated melodrama that I watched. Maybe it was the first actual melodrama that I watched end to end. And it is broken into arcs. It's broken into like the Ginta arc and the Michael arc and the America arc, and it's just kind of like, hey, we have these two characters who kind of like each other. What are we going to do? Better jam some wedges in there to drive them apart. The Ginta arc being very good for that. Oh, we have these two characters who actually seem like they really do like each other and they're going to keep doing stuff. What are we going to do? Time to jam a couple more new characters in there. Oh, but we'll get this one kid who's American this time, and that'll be different. Okay, that's great. Hey, we got these two characters who actually are in love with each other. They really like each other. They want to stay together and they want to do stuff. What should we do? Oh, I know. Let's jam a whole fucking country in between them. That'll be great. Send you to America, and Miki can lose her mind trying to think about what she should do. And then it's like, oh, but there's you know, there's great, you know, there's all sorts of hot people in America. Did you not know that? And that you is gonna definitely cheat on her because apparently that's the kind of guy he is. He's gonna get, his heart will be won over to this other, because that's how it works, is that whenever you're interested in somebody, you are constantly, until they marry you, at which point anything, like all that shit shuts down. Until that point, that, you know, they're just like grist for the fucking romance mill, that somebody else will come along and tear them to pieces and remold them into a special boyfriend that is their own. And it's just like, yeah, there's no fucking trust and no communication, and then it's just like watching the whole thing, I'm like, oh, it sucks, and you just talk to each other. No, we can't talk to each other because then he would know that I'm worried about things, then he would hate me, and it's like, he would know you're worried about things, and if he hates you as a result of it, then maybe you need to reevaluate why you're having a relationship with somebody who can't deal with the fact that maybe, hey, you can get jealous from time to time, and that's okay. So I'm talking about Marmalade Boy, not about this, because I didn't watch this. But something like Kimi ni Toroke, which is probably one of the best realized romances, I think, in the last several years. I will stand by that for like the last decade or so, whenever that did come out. And I'm just like, I love Kimi so much because it's a slow burn. It's not intended to be a romance from, well, it isn't completely intended to be a romance from the beginning, but the way that the characters approach it is not like it's a romance. And then when it becomes a romance, it's not hampered by interference. There's always attempted interference, but then there's always communication. I'm like, boy, it seems like this is going to be a way healthier relationship. Oh, but we need to have a little bit of melodrama inserted. Well, that's what the friends are for. Let the friends have some more melodramatic involvement. That's okay. That's okay, right? So, Horimiya, thank you. Kevin the Shark remembers what the thing is I was thinking about. Horimiya, also a great romance, more comedic and also told in like, feels like it's being told out of order sometimes, but it's also really fun. So, yeah, it's those are the romances I like. The ones where it's like, these two people like each other and they get along with each other and their relationship doesn't fall apart because there's interference from outside, whatever. If their relationship's going to fall apart, it's because they're not working on the relationship. That's what I would like to see. It's like if a relationship is falling apart, it's because the people involved are doing things that they shouldn't be doing. They're making choices that they shouldn't be making. And at that point, it's like, I don't want to watch a show like that either, because I kind of like I kind of want to always see the idealized stuff. I like to see good things happen to good people, right? That kind of thing. So anyway, moving on. Didn't watch that. Didn't watch Move Love Alternative Season 2. So I don't know what the original Move Love was. I think it was meant to be a romance show or comedy show or whatever. I don't really care. We'll move on. No min kanu no skill baka agete tara naze ka tsuyoku natta. Yeah, this is I didn't watch this either. Again, that's probably the main character because he's wearing a uniform. Wait, no, that's the main character. Wait, is that the main character? It doesn't matter. I didn't watch it. Popoteki Piku. There we go. Yes, of course. Everybody, get on. Pop Team Epic Season 2. Fantastic. I don't like the opening. I don't like the opening. I don't like the song. I'm not terrible. The animation's amazing, but I could only watch it a couple of times. And I don't really like the song, so I'm not really into that. The ending theme is interesting. I do like the fact that every episode was different voice actors, different male and different female voice actors. And yeah, that was really cool. Oh yes, thank you, Pinwis. I think you mean Endless Love, the best tokusatsu of the year. Yeah, absolutely. Endless Love was this amazing tokusatsu. They just happened to have this other show built completely around it. And I don't think there was the only thing I've ever really disliked about Pop Team Epic, I think especially this season, was when you watch the replays, when the VAs go outside of what was actually scripted for them. That's always fun, especially when they just really go off the rails, because the show allows for that kind of thing. I love that. I love it when the female voice actors do it first, and then the male ones seem like they're actually working to the script, and you're like, oh shit, the male voice actors actually took it straight, but the female ones went crazy, and you didn't know it because it fit with the show so well. I liked moments like that too. But yeah, it's, man, it's just, I'm glad they keep making this. I hope that they just kind of keep continuing to make more of it. I hope that King Records, sees that it's making money for them somehow. I have to think, because it's like, as somebody said, Doodle says, it's an internet shitpost in an anime, right? And it's like, I have to assume that there's a realization that, oh, you know what? The people who might be spending money on this in Japan are like, we love that this is a shitpost. We are fans, and we love that this is a shitpost for fans or against fans or with fans or whatever. But man, is it like, if it's a way you get to print your money, then feel free. I mean, part of the reason why I like Gintama is the fact that Gintama always had segments where they wouldn't animate anything. It was just a shot of the Yorozuya, and they would just talk shit about Sunrise, or they would talk shit about how they're not gonna, they've run out of animation budget, whether that was true or not. I would assume that given how often they did it, it felt like it was true. Or we had to conserve animation budget so we could put it towards other things in the season. Or they talk about how they're getting canceled. They're talking about how they're going to get a new series, or they might not get a new series. And I'm like, the fourth wall nature of all that conversation, I adored that because it was something that I hadn't seen before. And I'm sure other shows have done it, things that I maybe have not seen. But for Gintama, I really liked it, especially for something that like ran in Shonen Jump and had like hundreds and hundreds of chapters, being in a position of, yeah, Sunrise is always going to make this, but maybe they're not going to give us the money we need to make it happen the way we think it could happen, or this other thing or this thing or whatever. It's just like, yeah. So, I like it when I get to see other stuff like this. This is a very Adult Swim friendly, I think, that if, and maybe like more like classic Adult Swim friendly, maybe I don't know what Adult Swim is like these days because I don't have cable, but I'm like, Pop Team Epic really seems like the kind of thing that, by letting this get made and letting it happen and doing all this other stuff that's built into it, that you're letting these production companies, and feels like smaller production companies sometimes, stretch in ways to make entertainment that you might not have expected. Like, we would not have seen Endless Love, the live action tokusatsu segments, we would probably not have seen that ever get made as like a thing, because it is played so straight. That would have probably not been a thing that ever came up. It would not have come up in the manga, I don't think. I didn't read enough of Pop Team Epic to know whether or not they actually said, oh, by the way, this is now just it's now just a shonen manga for like chapters upon chapters. But the fact that it's like, oh, we can do what we want. What if we did this? It's like, yeah, you're right. What if you did this? And that's kind of also a thing I like about Japanese TV, especially when it comes to things like Downtown, Gaki no Tsukai, Nara Hendra, and Gaki no Tsukai. When it comes to Downtown's whole thing, where they were like, what if we did a Batsu game and a 24-hour Batsu game, and what if we did, and the slow evolution of turning into the New Year's tradition that it is. And the fact that they're like, we have lots of money and we can do this kind of stuff, and we're willing to devote ridiculous amounts of money to stupid premises. Like there's a clip going around of a very old thing where dudes were like wrestling on the beach. Like they'd set up a big wrestling ring and they were really thin guys, comedians I think or whatever, were wrestling on the beach with like big sumo actors or whomever, like actual like pro wrestlers who were throwing them over the ropes, and they would land on like a shock pad outside the ring. And they would get shocked by it or whatever, and you'd see them like, and they'd rush off the damn thing when they hit it because it's shocking them and it hurts. And I'm just kind of like, whether that's real or whether it's not real, just the sheer ballsiness of let's do something completely stupid and let's sink a lot of money into it for comedy. And I'm like, boy, I love that idea. I love the idea of being a part of something like that. Boy, if we had the money to do it and the time, it's not just money, but the time to do it too. Whew. It's very seductive to me. Anyway, let's move on. I can talk about Pop Team Epic and like the way I feel about a lot of stuff for a while, and it just, I know that I like it. I know that it's good, and it seems like a lot of you in chat seem to like it too, so I'm glad. Meanwhile, Renai flops. It's an original story. That's good. If I took the hair off of all of these girls, would they all have the same face? Well, the eyes are different. Do any of them have Sanpaku eyes or anything different? Oh, there's some rounder eyes. Okay, well, whatever. Didn't watch this, I don't even remember this. I don't even remember talking about this. So, good job, Passionné. Moving on. Seiken Densetsu, Legend of Mana, the Teardrop Crystal. Didn't watch this. I don't even think I've played. The last Mana game I played was Secret of Mana, so. Was it? Yeah, sure. Let's move on. Shinmai Renkinjutsu Shi no Tenpo Kei. This is about alchemy, because Renkinjutsu. Yep. Sarasa just graduated from Royal Alchemist Academy. Oh, right. Oh, man. Oh, did I see some... I saw some takes on this. Woof. Was this the objectivist anime? Was that what this was? This was very like, hey, I have to own you or you owe me thousands and thousands of dollars for all of the healthcare I just gave you, but that's okay because if I didn't roll into your town and then make you go look for herbs and shit for me, and then once you did that, I then turned around and made value out of all that and sold it back to you 10 times the price, and you had a nice little town here that was running very, it was just running very normally. But that's okay. I'm going to come to town and I'm going to make us more prosperous by cornering the market on fucking everything of value and then keeping you from being able to afford anything that I'm making. Yeah, I'm sure I'm sure like a lot of things where when you take the story at face value and you watch it, you're like, there's entertainment value here. Like there is, of course, like in a lot of ways that there is, right? And like, for example, I was reading, and then I also watched to see how it went down, Rise of the Shield Hero. So don't start yelling in chat. And I was like, man, this is good. I don't like the part about where we talked about all the sexual assault. Didn't like that, the false accusations of sexual assault, and therefore that being, that happened, must happen all the time. It's like the implications, right? And I'm just like, but then there is the slavery of of demi-humans, which means that they're not real humans, but they definitely look like humans. But don't worry, they have tails and ears and fuckable bodies, and so that must mean that they are, it's completely okay to have slaves. And I'm just like, God. And there was something I watched last season that was, what was that again? I think I'm still reading it. Isekai Make You No Harem. Yeah, that one. Where I'm like, yeah, more slavery horse shit. But again, slavery horse shit. Again, being honest to myself, it's smut. And anyway. But there is something to be said for when you see it and you're like, oh, I see this and I can't ignore what I'm seeing. And I hate when that happens because you're like, that has ruined my enjoyment of something I was having a good time with. And it's like, yes. But that's valuable to learn that kind of thing. Here I am talking about a show I didn't watch, only saw people's reactions to it, only saw how other people reacted to it. So I shouldn't make value judgments on it, but when I heard all this stuff, it did say to me, it's like, I don't want to go watch this. And that I should not be sitting here recycling other people's opinions and throwing them at you on a thing and making you feel bad for it, obviously. I think that is a poor form for me. But I did just do that. I will accept that I did that. I know there are other people in chat who are like, yeah, I didn't really like I didn't like a lot of that either. I picked up on that too. And it's like, sure, there is that idea of, can you separate the art from the artist as well? This is literally the art, though, saying the things that it's saying. And I'm like, well, you have to know what you're comfortable with and what you're willing to be like, I can overlook this to see how the show is going. And like I say, I watched a smutty slave harem anime dungeon crawler thing and was like, yep, I like titties, so I'm here for this. Reading the manga of it, I'm here for this. And I'm like, yeah, I recognize that this is all problematic. That is the other thing, though, is we have also talked about in the past, it's like having problematic faves, like even really problematic faves. It's like, and that isn't a fave of mine either, but it's like having problematic media that you enjoy should not be an indictment of you as a character, because we are all three-dimensional people and we all have different things that we like or are into or whatever. And it's like, while I might not like the slavery aspect of all the titty stuff, I do like all the titty stuff of all the titty stuff. And so maybe I can do this to that to be like, it is fantasy. I want to just let them tell the story. We'll see where this goes. Yeah. Yuzendai says there's no such thing as morally pure media, and it's like, yeah. So again, we come back to that same thing. I don't care if you like the stuff. Be honest with yourself about why you like the stuff, And I guess the corollary to that is the stuff that you like is not a wholesale reflection of who you are as a person. It is an aspect of who you are as a person. But it's not the wholesale whatever. You can watch this show and be a socialist and be like, oh, I don't like all this other stuff. But also it's cute. And be like, yeah, I wish that she said this more as like a, autonomous collective with, all this. Yes, but also it's cute and fun. And I like it. And I think that's okay. I think we can accept that. I think we can learn to live with those things. I didn't watch this, Shinobi no Itoki. I did not watch it, so I don't know how it went. I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, it seems like it is kind of it says just action, so I'm assuming it is a pure action ninja in modern days thing, so moving on. Well, again, we're talking top threes, top fives. Spy Family, another show that I had waiting for me. Every week I was like, do I watch it tonight? No, I save it for tomorrow night because maybe I'll have two by that point. Because you lose track of the weeks when you do a job like this. You lose track of sometimes where you are in when things come out. But man, like Spy Family still consistently good. I'm reading the manga. You can read it on Shoisha has the Manga Plus app. It's on there. The chapters are free for the week that you're in, or at least for like the couple weeks or 3 weeks or whatever that you're in. So if you want to read the manga's way ahead. There is a movie being made. Third cour has already been greenlit. I really feel like this show goes for a while, and lucky again Cloverworks and like Wit Studio, right? They're working together on this, but like lucky for Cloverworks, man, you guys got out of Wonder Egg Priority and you got into Bocchi the Rock and you got into Spy Family, and congratulations, because whoo, you have hit the jackpot on some of this stuff. But yeah, a movie has been greenlit apparently. I have no idea if it's another story. Oh no, the movie I think is the cruise arc, or is the next cour the cruise arc. There was a PV. There's a commercial. We call them commercials. There is a commercial for this. The movie's the cruise? Yes, okay. The cruise arc is really fun, and if you're mad because you don't get to see Yor in action an awful lot, well, guess what? The movie is Yor, and that also means if it's a movie, it's probably going to have a fair budget. I'm making an assumption here, but if it has a fair budget, that means it's gonna be lots of animated Yor in this. It's gonna be like, yeah, because this is her job to do. This is the thing she has to do. Do not worry. Lloyd and Anya obviously get on the cruise as well, but the cruise arc is great. And really, like, this show is wonderful and pure and fun and nice, and the little bits of tension are good, and it kind of, like, it really just snaps along. Like, I mean, obviously they know, they put Anya front and center in this picture, right? And it's kind of like, sure, like, Lloyd and Anya and Yor are kind of like the three that should be, like, really front and center. But they get that it's like, Anya really is a driver of the show, and she's a lot of fun, and she is a little brat, and she's trying her best. And if that's what you give a 6-year-old psychic powers, and that's just who they're gonna be. But man, like, oh, this has been so good, and having to sit on episodes just so I'm like, I want to watch this tonight. I want to watch a thing that I'm going to always enjoy, and it never disappoints. It's always so good. And if you have not watched it yet, go back, you can go watch it, go start it and watch it, and I hope you love it. And if you don't love it, that's okay. I don't mind. But like, shit, I was sitting in this very room and I was playing Arena on that one stream to cover off for whoever, and because James was like, yeah, go ahead, do whatever it is, because I was here for like 5 minutes, and he was like, he's like, okay, now I guess I have to do something you would do, so what manga should I read? And I was like, Spy Family, and he went and he found it, and he read like the first chapter. He's like, that's good. And I'm like, yeah, from the first chapter, go, let's go, boys. It's just real good. And I like that I could say to my friends, read this, you will always like it. You don't have to have kids or not. This is the kind of show where it's like, man, I could stand having some kids, especially if they were psychics. And I guess if I was a spy and if my wife was an assassin, and I'm kind of inventing a new life for myself that I wasn't expecting. But, you know, that's the fun thing. It is a bit of it's a, you know, spy fantasy thing, and it's a different take. It's not your James Bondy kind of whatever, and it's not always a mystery. It's just kind of, you know, here's some stuff that's happening, and there is that, like, there's the danger element, and you know that, God, so it's like, yeah. So, yeah, definitely watch Spy Family. Please do it. Go find the manga, any of the apps. Go do it. Like, it's so great. I always watch the openings and the endings for this. Always the first season ones I maintain are better than the second season ones, but don't get me wrong, the second season ones are good. The Bump of Chicken opening for this one is beautiful to watch. The song is very good. It is not my favorite opening. The second ending is really good. It snaps along too. But this first season's ending, I think, is better. And I'm just like, oh God, like, yeah, there's just something about Charles. I don't know if you watch this. Charles Cornell. He is a YouTuber. He is a professional musician. Plays a lot of piano, a lot of jazz stuff. He did a breakdown on the Spy Family. He does a lot of. Charles, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. You do a lot of clickbaity stuff. He did a whole thing where it's like, I'm gonna talk like the Spy Family soundtrack should not be this good, or how is it this good? Or, like the Persona 5 soundtrack should not be this good. Like he does a lot of that stuff, but it gets clicks. It gets me watching it anyway. He's also on Nebula, and his thing on Spy Family's music was great because it's like watching him get used to how he reacts and stuff, and it's fun to watch. But watching him break down the music and be like, yeah, you know, like if you've watched some other videos talking about the influence of Bond and jazz and how the kind of fusion of those things and the orchestral stuff, but also the jazz feel of it and how that kind of comes together, and then you see a lot of that. The language of spy music is definitely here in Spy Family because it has to be, because that's what you expect. And how this whole language of a music that's supposed to fit not just a mystery, but what's supposed to fit like spy music, that we know that now that this is spy music when we hear it. And that's also like Lupin the Third. We haven't talked about Lupin Zero yet, and we'll get to that. But the idea of what is music that feels like this. And yeah, all of this stuff. This is Charles Cornell. He's on YouTube.com. He's also on Nebula if you have Nebula as well. I like him. I think he's fun. I think he's great to watch. He's got a lot of interesting takes on music. You have to, I think you can watch him and not be a musician and still enjoy it. Probably. I can't say that because as an amateur musician, I can watch it and really be like, oh, this is so good for me because I'm learning so much music theory by watching all the stuff he's saying, because I took music theory as part of my band class. You have to take it in high school. And so it's like we were doing theory stuff all the time, and learning that playing multiple instruments also helps that too, because you move from being like, I played a little keyboard when I was younger. Then I played violin for like a while. And then I played saxophone for a long time, but then I taught myself guitar, and it's like being on different instruments and learning how to play different things and learning where your fingers go and what you're supposed to do at all these points, I think informs a lot of that too. We're on to a completely different topic. I'm not talking about anime anymore. That sucks. But yeah, Charles Cornell, go check that out. He does a take on the music for this, and it's good too. And I think that's kind of good too, where it's like when every aspect of a show is something you can talk about. That's valuable, I think, right? Where it's like there's all sorts of things you can peel back the layers of for this. And it's like, I love how just joyful this show is. And the only thing I would like is to see more action from Yor. You get that little bit in the first season, especially when she's at the dinner party, which is like, oh yeah, that's so great to see her doing that. The little bits when she's like trying to find Anya, I'm like, that's so great. Whenever she does anything, whenever Yor does anything, it's a treat, because you're like, yeah, do it. Be who you are inside and make everyone wonder, but not like, because Lloyd can't do any of that stuff. And it's so fun. It's so fun to watch Yor do that. So yeah. Moving on. Tensei Shitara Ken Deshita. I did not watch this. Yeah. I don't know if this was good or not. Because I didn't watch it. Reading this started as like some guy was reborn as a sentient sword, right? And you're like, oh, okay, I feel like that's going to, be a thing. But then it's like, he's taken up by Fran, a desperate girl fleeing evildoers intent on selling her into slavery. With her new weapons, help, and guidance, she's able to strike down her captors and secure her freedom. This unconventional master to endure and embark an epic journey to liberate those in need and exact justice and cruel of heart. Coming at this now, I'm like, this sounds more interesting to me. And I'm seeing here, it's really cute and it's very satisfying. I'm guessing, is our protagonist a dad? I need to know. Is he like a 30-year-old dude? Can somebody please fill me in? Because if he is, then this is a father-daughter anime. Yes, okay, it's a father-daughter anime is what it is. Father sword, daughter almost a slave. So sword dad, okay, cool. And if she's the real protagonist, that's fine. But the father and kid thing, Sweetness and Lightning, was like a favorite to me like that. And if there are aspects of this that's also very much like sword dad being a kind of a mentor and teaching her how to do things, and there's like actual affection there where it's like, yeah, we like each other, and I'm trying to take care of her. Yeah, it's been nicknamed Sword Dad since it began. Okay, cool. You know what? I will put that in my thing, and if I can find it anywhere, maybe I will watch it. At least watch a couple episodes and see how I like it. Because yeah, just the whole isekai protagonist, and there is the slavery aspect in every freaking isekai, but he comes back as a sword, and what does that mean? But it's like, yeah, this is Sword Dad, then maybe I'll watch a couple and see how this goes. Could be fun. Let's see. High Dive has it, and Billy has it. I don't know how else I'll get it. I'll figure something out. Also, I'm usually concerned whenever I see something source as a light novel, because I'm like, So yeah, we'll see what happens. Maybe it's good. Oh, okay. Uchi no shisho wa shippo ga nai. Or My Master Has No Tail. I watched all of this, wanting it to be better than it was. You will be disappointed immediately by the fact that it seems like they didn't have a lot of money for this. You can tell in how reserved they are in choosing to animate the opening sequence. Oh, did that make me mad? I was just like, the very opening of this, I don't like the opening song very much either. It is very much a classic anime song though. Like when you hear it, you're like, oh, it feels very like I have heard this before. It's a fun story. Let's start with this. The whole reason I watched this is because there's two shorts and I tried to show them last time, and I have no idea how I'm going to be able to show them this time. But there are two shorts on YouTube where one of them it's got a bright yellow screen. It's got tiny little, you know what? We're going to do this right. Let's go back to the booth. I warned you guys last time that I was like, I'm going to find this thing or I'm going to die trying. So youtube.com/why can't I find anything? Where is the search? Dismissed. Where is the search? How am I supposed to search YouTube if I don't have a search bar? What the shit? Close that. There's really no search bar. That woman is just in a bathing suit. Why is... I am old. There's a search bar. You can't see it because I was in full screen. Okay, so... Then Beej goes into his YouTube app, and this is just, you know what? We're talking about taking shows right off the whole thing, right off the rails. Why not? I go to my library, I go find my favorites, and I skip past a few things. Doodaloo, dude, thank you for the sub. And am I ever gonna find this? Where is it? Sneeze. It's not in my favorites. Is it in my watch later? It is. It's called Mini Rakugo. Mini Rakugo. All right. Welcome back to YouTube. Here we go. Hope you can hear this. Anyway, this. Okay, can't hear it because I can't hear it probably. I don't know why you can't hear it. There it is. Okay, let's go. Let's rerun this. How do I rerun it?
あいつを怖がらせたいな思て買ったでタピオカミルクティーあいつつぶつぶが怖いらしいどうや怖いか怖いやろあー怖い吸ってしまおうこんなもん怖いから SNS にもアップせな騙したなお前本当は何が怖いんや今はいいねが怖い
There we go. All right. Oof. While I change back from stuff.
Stop, please stop.
No. Stop. Everything. Help. It's all gone wrong. Right. And there is a follow-up. Oh, I found the follow-up. Holy crap. Now, then this happened. Back to the right.
時うどんっちゅう落語を聞いた江戸では時そば言うらしい勘定中に時間を尋ねて銭をごまかすっちゅう話うちも真似してやってみようひふみよいつむななや今何時やすんませんうち電子決済なんです
That's a PV for the manga. Now, doesn't that look just joyful as shit? Like, it's so cute. So, man, so it's like the same music, the same beat, the same guy who laughs at the end, different story, I think, each time. But both of those being PVs essentially for My Master Has No Tail. And I'm like, oh, yes, okay, I'm into this idea. A Rakugo show about a tanuki who's trying to learn how to do Rakugo. And I'm like, yeah. And I felt, so when I went to watch this, I was like, oh, something happened between whoever was making the PV and whoever made the show. Some of the personality leaked out, and it's still an interesting show, but from the first episode it didn't quite grab me the way I wanted, and I've read some of the manga. The manga's interesting. I love the look of the manga. It's got such a great art style, and yeah, I mean, whoever made the PV might have also been Leiden Films for all that I know, right? But it's like, it just feels like they did not have enough money to make this pop more. And I felt like there would be more instances of like, I'm telling this story, and while I'm doing the Rakugo, you are seeing it kind of burst out. Because in the first episode, there is a lot of that where Bunko, who's the kitsune here that you figure out she's a kitsune pretty fast. She is telling a story, and when she does something in the action, you kind of see it burst forth, that you can see the layout of what's going on. This is what's happening behind her, right? This is like it's like the people in the audience are being swept along, and they all are seeing the same scene, except that it feels like she's actually making that happen. Even though that you know that she's not, but she's using her kitsune magic to make everyone feel like they're seeing the same thing at the same time, and you kind of get what I mean. Not a lot of that, not enough of that happens in this, and there's like other little, bits of story that I didn't realize came up in this. And I know there's other Rakugo shows as well that really focus on, the Rakugo and whatnot. And this doesn't focus as much on the Rakugo, kind of does, but it's not meant to kind of like warm you up to what's going on. There's a great little sequence at the end of every, at the end, it's a Shippo no Shippo. That's they call it My Tall Tales. And it's, Mameda, who's the tanuki, it's her sitting at the table and talking about. She always starts the same way because that's again, a very kind of Rakugo thing. You always start a story the same way. You tell the story the same way. She starts the second the same way. It's meant to give you a sense of, here's what we do, here's why we do, like, here's how Rakugo works, here's what we do, here's the why you have the fan and the blocks and all that kind of stuff, and then, or here's why we have different roles and what they fulfill, or here's what this story is actually about that you heard us bring up, because we only told about half a minute of a story, but the whole story is about this, and you can see how that's supposed to be it's a mirror to what we're doing in the episode, kind of. But overall, I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like the manga probably pops a lot more than this did. This felt very, it's weird because it feels pretty flat, and I wish it didn't feel as flat as it did. And it's so odd when it's like, I'm interested in the story, I'm interested in the characters, I'm interested in all these things, but why didn't you pop more? Why don't you pop like those 30-second PVs did? Even the one that was just at that 45 degree, that isometric angle, that was just like doing its thing, I'm like, oh, that, yeah, you know, feel it, you know. The two stories that are told also in those little mini Rakugo segments are really good, because the one in the yellow background one, the isometric one, is basically, it's a modern story. It's basically about a girl saying like, oh, I don't, you know, I'm on SNS, I'm on social networking services, right? And like, oh, like, don't, you know, I'm really afraid of getting a bubble tea. I'm afraid of bubble tea. Bubble tea scares me a lot. And the guy's like, aha, well, then I've got you there. And he goes and buys her bubble tea. She's like, oh, no, let me post this to SNS to show how scared I am. Awesome. He's like, hey, wait a second. Very kind of classic idea of what that's, I think, is a real Rakugo story as well. But a classic idea of, this is what Rakugo is. It's this story that's told 1,000 times. And it's a very simple but funny little joke. And who cares if it's like, who cares how like, who cares how tropey or rote the story is? Doesn't matter. We're here to enjoy the nature of it. Oh, it's a very hacky joke, right? It's like, yes, she pretends to be scared of the bubble tea, so she posts an SNS and gets a free bubble tea out of it. And it's like, yeah, that whole thing is just, it's very modern. And I thought we would see more of that, as well as like reimagine the original Rakugo story is Manju, right? And it's like thank you, Tiber. I was waiting to see if there would be like more of we're going to resample some of this, because it's so hard to tell from how everyone is dressed what era this takes place in. Because if it's all happening in Kyoto or Osaka or wherever, people dress like this all the time when they're in the business, right? That's what you do. And if they're all part of the business, then you would expect that they would all dress like this all the time. And because, things stay the same all the time. And yeah, anyway. And I thought there'd be more like, I don't know. I thought there'd be more. There wasn't more. It felt a little flat, and that's fine. So whatever. If you want to search for the thing that I just showed, just type in the words mini Rakugo, and that's the title of the yellow one. And then if you go down a few more in the results, you should find the PV for the books for Uchi no Shisho Shippo ga Nai, or My Master Has No Tail. Right. Oh. Speaking of unfortunate flatness, damn, I'm still watching it, but damn, like, I got excited that we were gonna see a 16:9 modern era, modern animation, probably really high production, really faithful adaptation of Urusei Yatsura, because I didn't really want to go back and watch the one from the 80s. And to ever see any of it, I'm like, I can just watch it now. It'll look beautiful on my 4K television, and this will be great. And it's David production. Are you kidding me? The guys who do JoJo are putting a lot of people into this. This could be really good. I can be really interesting and be kind of fantastic. And man, that opening sequence and ending sequence are good. The music is fun too. Getting to finally reading the translation of the opening and ending, and this is the most recent episode, I'm like, oh, thank God, I finally get to see what the actual lyrics mean. And this is fun, but man, this suffers, to me, it suffers from all the same stuff that Sailor Moon Eternal suffers from, or Sailor Moon Crystal, sorry. I don't know what it is about the adaptation that seems to just lose life And I'm not saying this is lifeless. I mean, compared to the original, yes. But there's something about doing more with this that seems like some life left it. And that's, again, to me, I still like this. But this is not like Spy Family or Bocchi the Rock excitement. When the new episode of this came out, I was like, I will get to watching this. This will be one of my end of night things when I'm like, oh, I want to watch, I'm going to watch the Raven Consort. And then I'm going to watch maybe like the Akiyaku, the villainous one, taking the last boss. And then maybe I will watch like a third thing that I'm watching that I'm kind of like in on or not. And then maybe I'll finish it with Spy Family or Bocchi the Rock or Urusei Yatsura. Or maybe I'll watch this and then finish it with Bocchi the Rock or whatever. And despite being like 2 episodes per episode, so they're each like about 12 or 15 minutes or whatever, there's just something about a lot of the episodes just feeling like they're obviously there to introduce more characters, because there's lots of characters in Urusei Yatsura, which is supposed to like hype the whatever, but somehow I just feel like it doesn't sparkle in the way that whenever I've seen the older stuff that sparkles in that way. Like there is a it's unfair of me to bring up Beautiful Dreamer, which is the second movie, but bringing that up in comparison to this, my expectation is I expect it to be that kind of madcap, over the top, whatever. And there's like in Beautiful Dreamer, I think in one scene, the Lum Defense Force, which is like all the guys at school, getting the having a tank and like driving a tank up the stairs in the school and down the hallways and stuff like that, like for whatever reason. And it's all that very 80s kind of, the wheels spinning and expanding and the movement and the things jumping and bending in ways that they shouldn't, and like all that kind of stuff, like all that kind of rubber band animation, doing the impossible to make this really like, lots of zipping and that, and like, yeah, that doesn't really come across. I expect to see more of that kind of thing, like a lot of, I want it to be a little more Looney Tunes. When it's madcap, I want it to stretch and move and in ways that you don't expect it to, or like, I don't know, or I want to have like 3/4 of the face being a mouth and the rest of it being eyes. Like I want it to be that kind of feel. And I mean, you even see that in the opening sequence where it's like, you're seeing the art, the black and white art of Lum being animated behind Ataru while he's sitting there. And in one scene, Lum like jumps out of a panel, and as she does, you can see the morph from her having a giant grin which covers almost her entire lower half of her face. As she leaps out at Ataru, you can see the grin, because the expression on her face changes, and as it does, and I'm serious, go watch this if you can find a copy of this, you can see how it changes to be much more of the more animated cute Lum than the like than the Lum that is like that, the more like huge mouth kind of thing. It shrinks a little bit, everything changes just a slight little bit. And not that she's not cute when she's being animated, but yeah, the gremlin to the moe. Thank you, Account Made for Ads, you really nailed it there, changing from this gremlin to the moe thing. And I'm kind of like watching this switch from Takahashi's art, from being like the way that she, to being like Takahashi's key art, right? If I was to draw Lum for the front of a manga, I'd make her look like this. But if I had to draw her in the manga, I'd make her look like this. And that kind of stretching of that, I'm like, that's interesting. But it's weird that through the whole thing, she really feels like that. And probably my favorite art of Lum in the series is in the opening sequence, where she's holding on to the merry-go-round ball, and she's flying with it, and they art out the bars so you can see her face where they're being. I love it when they do that in animation or in cartoons or whatever, in any sort of, in comic strips, where you art out a piece of something so you can see the person, and it's like, well, why is there bars missing? Well, it's like, we draw them, but we stop them at a certain point, so you know that they're supposed to continue, but you want to see the person's face because we're trying to fill in the gaps, and it would be awful to have that be blocked. You want to have the hero shot, right? And just that 2 seconds, I'm like, I just want to watch that over and over for flying and smiling. And I'm just kind of like, that's so much her energy. And in this series, her energy is kind of there too, but I like it better when she's like mad and going off and being mad and stuff. I'm like, I like that too, and I love that energy also, but I want her to be more just chaos angry when that happens, and it doesn't seem to really come across, and I feel like it maybe comes across more in the 80s series, perhaps. And again, I haven't watched a lot of it, but yeah. There's Travelog mentions my favorite part of the opening is when the singer does a bit of that growly yell in the parts where it goes oh eh, oh eh, oh eh, oh, and she has a line where she goes da, 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 nah. Like she just really growls her voice, and I'm like, oh, that's great. Like I love that part. That's my favorite part. This is good. Like, don't get me wrong. This is, and I'm not saying, oh, it's good. Like I've been good for the other ones. Like this is good. Like this is, go watch this. It's fun. It's simplistic. It takes a lot of like what we've seen before. Obviously, it's fun. I wish they would have done a few other things. I wish that the guys at the school were more madcap and idiots that I kind of expect them to be. Like I want all of Ataru's friends in school to just be like, oh, we have to do whatever we can to summon more alien girls to the school, and let's go dance outside. Ventura, space of people. Like I want more of that too. And you don't get a lot of that. But I think it's because they have to be choosy about what they're introducing, because everybody wants to see, I'm sure, their faves show up, right? Ray just showed up, I think. And, Ron has just showed up recently and all that. So I'm like, meh, yeah. So anyway. But yeah, it's still fun. I still like it. It just, yeah. Boy, what an obvious thing to pick. Uzaki-chan wa asobitai, Omega. That which is good for a smile, but it's also good for, we've seen it in the Omega Labyrinth games where they use that to denote pendulous boobs. I watch and I read Usaki-chan wa Asobitai. This is back before things. We're at 12. I'm going to take a break after this one, or at 2 rather. But this is still really good. I don't. This is wrong, right? Like whoever threw this in here fucked up. Do not watch this thinking, oh, it's edgy. It's not. At no time is it. And it frustrates me so much that people have this sense that Uzaki-chan wa Asobitai, oh, she's got big boobs. That must mean that it's going to be like lewd. It's not. It's barely even like used as a plot device ever. It's just I think that, this has always been my theory, I think that the mangaka drew Uzaki-chan with big boobs, gives her mom big boobs as well, drew her like that solely to attract people to read the manga in the first place. Was like, this is a girl I want to draw. Look at how cute she is. Look at her big boobs. I love drawing big boobs. The very, Hideo Kojima moment, right? It's like, why does Quiet dress like that? Actually, no, I'm sorry. Very Yoko Taro. Why is 2B dressed like that? I think she looks cute. I think she's hot. I think it's sexy. What's wrong with that? I'm like, yeah, you're right. Admit to everything what's going on. We can be adults about this and be like, yeah, she looks hot. That's okay. But that doesn't mean that the series is lewd. That doesn't mean that this is an ecchi series, right? It is what it is. And Uzaki-chan wants to hang out. It's a romance. It really is. She wants to hang out with her senpai. She's not really in love with him, but then it's clear that she's in love with him and he's not in love with her. But then we start to wonder, because he's a bit clueless too, we start to wonder, is he put up with her because he likes her? How do we really approach this, right? And yeah, I'm just like, the series is not ecchi. And I'm done talking about that. But it's very cute, and it is a good comedy romance thing. You have to be able to deal with the main female character being an absolute fucking brat, because Uzaki-chan really is. She is like, she just wants to get his goat. She wants to tease him all the time. But it is one of those things where everybody else is being like, these two are into each other. Why don't they see it? Everybody else in the series is like that, and getting sick of watching them be into each other. And why don't they just date already? Why aren't they doing that? And in the second season, we finally see that really start to push through and come to more of a culmination. And it hasn't yet. And if there is going to be a third one, then maybe there is. But hey, there's over 80 chapters of this, and they are just now getting to the point where that is getting resolved. I shouldn't say just now, but just recently have started to resolve that whole romance. These two are getting together by that point in the manga. And what does that mean? And how does that relationship change? And that's interesting too, which also means it's going to be wrapping up because nobody else in the show, it's not like other romances where it's like, we have side stories we can tell about the other characters meeting other people, or maybe their relationships doing whatever. No, this is the only one, and it's making a thing happen, and it's just great. And yeah, I like this show. I think it's fun. I think you would find it fun too if you like a good comedy romance light thing. But again, you gotta deal with the main female character being a brat. And if you can do that, great. Moving on. No, you know what? Moving on to commercial. I didn't watch this, but we are going to move on to a commercial. I will be right back after a few minutes. And mute. Okay, I'm back. I think we're probably about done for this. Yeah, I got to get on to the winter, obviously, because I got to be done here at least by 3:30, or else the Rhythm Cafe is going to be real mad. So, Vaz Rock the Animation, didn't watch it. Moving on. Yaba no Susume Next Summit. I used to watch this, and gave up on it, because I just kind of, I don't know. I think it just, I don't know. It just stopped interesting me. And I love the whole thing of girls do things. Girls do sports things. Girls do active things. Girls do DIY. Girls do hockey, except then they have to sing a fucking song at the end. Girls are horses. Like, there's a lot of those out there. And I'm just like, this seemed very straightforward. Girls who used to know each other then start to know each other again, and then they go climbing and they do stuff, and it's like, that makes people excited. I'm like, I like Eurocamp better. I just like Eurocamp better. I don't want to fucking go hiking. And even reading the manga, I was like, at some point, I'm like, this is great. And, I'm kind of, I don't care. And I don't need to go. You go hiking. Please enjoy it. I wanted, like, let's talk about gear, and let's talk about, get a cool backpack. And it's like, we did a thing where they had boots, and it was like, yeah. And it's like, oh, we can climb this, do whatever. And it's just, I don't care. Like, I ran out of care about this series in like 4 seasons. No, done. So I hope you're enjoying it if you are watching it, because I don't think it's bad. I just think I ran out of giving a shit about it. That's all. Moving on. Yomushi Pedal, Limit Break. Never 5 seasons. Wow. I love, like, the frog guys are great. Like, just the fact that, that they let these frogmen pedal. I don't watch this. I don't care. Again, the sports thing. I know people love this. I think Ian's been watching Yomushi Pedal, or at least he's been consuming it in some way, maybe some sort of like by osmosis, but I don't. And I know people love this. Great. Please do. Was not my thing. Moving on some more. Yusha Party wo tsuiho sareta Beast Tamer Saikyoshi, and the beasts have ears. Saikyoshi no Nekomimi, of course they do have cat ears, Nekomimi. Saikyoshi no Nekomimi shoujo to deao. If Dogen ever watched this, he'd probably have a fucking just aneurysm trying to hear me pronounce shit. I don't think he gives a crap about us. Anyway, because Rain was a weak and simple beast tamer, he was expelled from the heroes group. Where is Rain in this? All I see is titties and ears. I did not watch this. We'll move on. Hey, Nectar Beds. Did anybody watch Nectar Beds Clearance? That is a real fucking bed, isn't it? Oh my god. I saw somebody make a bed that was kind of like this, except it had like extra beds around it because they did a co-sleeping thing with their 8 kids. So they designed their entire bedroom to be like a big queen size bed, and then larger beds up on stilts or some shit all around it. Yeah, no, whatever. Moving on. Aru Asa Dummy Head Mike ni Natte ta Oreku no Jinsei. I thought this was a very funny idea, using the Moai mic to do ASMR through like the binaural mic thing, and I wanted to watch, and I didn't find anywhere it was, and just no, didn't. Well, whatever. Moving on. We just got a new bed at our house. We got a not the Malm, but the Nidless or whatever the hell it is from IKEA. I found somebody in town who was selling it for like half price, and it was in a really good kit, and then we had to dismantle the whole thing in our yard in order to get it into our house because it didn't fit up the stairs or through most of the doors. It was fun though. I mean, I had friends, and we took the whole thing about. took the whole thing apart, and then I owe them dinner and whatnot, but at least they delivered it to our house. I was very thankful. And now we sleep in a really nice, cool bed with really nice drawers that aren't loud, and yeah, it's awesome. Moving on. Cool Doji Danshi. So good, so good, so good. You want to pick one thing that I'm really excited about? This, because this is a show I watched with my wife all year. It's so great that Heather and I got to watch something together. We could find something we could watch, and this is fun. This really is. And is it yaoi bait? Sure, why not? Fujoshis, get in here. Have a great time. This is about these 4 boys, all different ages, but all clearly, like, I'm either between 17 and 23, right? Like, it's like, these 4 boys are all just cool-looking guys who do the boneheadedest stuff all the time. And they react in different ways. So there's number 1, Ichimura, number 2, which is Futami, number 3, which is Mimi something or other, and number 4, which is Shisho. Do you see how they did that? They all have numbers in their names. Anyway, number 1 here, his big thing is that he'll do something stupid. Like, he'll be watching his phone, and then he'll start looking around for his phone because he doesn't know where his phone has gone. And then realize, and he'll get embarrassed by it, and he'll feel really bad, and he'll feel really stupid and like really self-conscious about it. Number 2 will do something boneheaded, like he'll turn. This is all stuff from like the opening sequence. He'll see somebody wave at him, and he'll turn and he'll wave at them, and he'll realize that they were waving at somebody behind him. And then he's like, well, I meant to do that. He gets very like angry about it. He's like, but I meant to do that, and he just tries to shrug it off by doing that. This guy, as you can see, he tries to put eyes in his eye, or eye drops in his eyes, but he has his glasses on, and then he realizes what's happened, and he just moves on. He doesn't react to it whatsoever. He just, oh, okay, and he just kind of moves on with his day. That's just what happens. And then this guy, the cute one, he will. He'll be sitting in a coffee shop. He'll be drinking his drink or whatever, and he'll get to the bottom, and he'll realize he put the straw in upside down because the bendy part was down near the bottom instead of the front. And then he'll remember that he did that, and he'll start laughing to himself because he's like, "Oh my god, I did such a stupid thing!" And he does that over and over again. And it's very definitely. There's lots of shipping material here. Don't doubt it. Not really realized in the show. It's just them doing goofy shit that they react to all in different ways. And then you get to see them. They're not friends when they start the show, but they all just slowly end up interacting with each other, running into each other and interacting with each other, and eventually kind of becoming like friends, kind of. And they're all like this guy's in his 20s, I think. He's like 23, 24. Like he's in the working world now. He's in a trade school. He, I think, is a college age too. He's like 20, 21, something like that. And I think he's like 17 or 18 years old, and he's, I believe, still in high school. They all end up trying to interact with each other, and it's fun. It's a Himbo the anime is kind of a way to look at it, and it's fun. I really like it, and it's a short. That's the other thing about it, is that they're short. They're like 11, 12 episodes long, and the songs are good. So, or the opening ending songs are good. So, AQ Shonen Eternal Boys, thought about watching this, didn't get it from anywhere, didn't end up watching it. If it was good, I hope it was good. I hope you enjoyed it. I Love Me Part 2, I didn't see the Part 1, but this is interesting. Related to the Beyond Gender project, it aims to foster a society where people can live as they are without being bound by social and cultural gender differences such as masculinity or femininity. Cool. I was unaware this thing existed. Neat. But I did not watch it. Mami Kichi Mamiko Neat no Ichijo. I didn't watch that. I think sometimes I find it hard to watch stuff about neats because sometimes they end up being depressing. But yeah, anyway, I didn't watch that. Meitante Conan this is a spin-off. Oh, right. This is the one about the perpetrator. Hanni no Hanzawa-san. Maybe I should add that to my list and I can see if I can find it somewhere. Yeah, that sounds great. A manga about the person who's always in shadow doing the bad stuff. Obake Zukan, didn't watch the first one, don't even know anything about that. Peter Grill to Kenja no Jikan, super extra. I bet it is pretty fucking extra. Huh, really? No way. Anyway, moving on, didn't watch that. Pui Pui Molcar Driving School, people I think have really enjoyed Molcar. I did not watch that. Puni Ruins, didn't know anything about that, didn't watch it. Digichara got a Reiwa, so it's this set during this era. Didn't watch that either. Maybe this is why Leiden Films couldn't put any more money into My Master Has No Tails, because they're too busy making Digichara mini anime. Tom and Jerry. What? Cartoon Network Japan. Wow. Okay, kind of want to see what their take is on this. Maybe I'll add that. I didn't realize this is a thing. This must have come up late. November 11th, Remembrance Day, when you want to bring it all up. Moving on. Hoshino Samedare. I stopped watching this. I think we remember that. So, and I dropped it, so I did not see any more of it. Utawareru mono, futari no hakuoro. Sorry, hakuoro. Didn't watch... Never seen the original Utawareru mono. I know that Heather has a copy of it on DVD. We never did watch it, though, together or anything. Boku ga shita Subete no Kimi e. This is that one that is two movies that have to do with each other. Wanted to watch that. Didn't get a chance to. I'll put it in the thing. Bokura no Yoake. Yeah, kind of wanted to watch that. I guess I didn't mark that as something I was watching. Eternity, didn't watch that. Looks interesting, though. Kagami no Kojo. 17 Years Wait to Find Their Better Meanings of Shining. Wondrous Castle, Shining Staircase, Clues. They Will Be Punished if they don't get out. I don't think I was going to watch that. Yes, okay. All right, need to watch this. Looking forward to this. This is a sequel? No, it's not. Right. Okay. No, this is the more of... Right. Okay. Need to watch this. Cannot wait to watch the new Kaguya-sama thing. Came out on December 17th. I guess we'll see. Kame no Kora wa Babone. Didn't watch that. I like that they have a Roku Rokubi in there. This is the other half of that thing that I just mentioned before about how it's like, oh, we don't... It's the other movie that you have to watch in order to figure out what the hell's going on. Suzume no Tojimari has had some great McDonald's commercials. At some point, I'm going to watch that. It's about the man who is a chair. I don't really understand when I see most of this shit, but at some point, I'm going to watch this. Sword Art Online, Progressive. Don't do anything with Sword Art Online. Tensei Shitara Slime Ken. Okay, I did not. I haven't watched this series, so I would not know anything about that. The first Slam Dunk, a new animated movie, but it's called The First, so maybe it's like a reimagining of the first few episodes where it all comes together. I don't really know what it's about. What do I know? Definitely was not gonna watch this. So moving on from that, they had mini versions of I like when she's drawn as this. It's very cute in the ST style. Akiyaku Reijo Nano de Last Boss o Katte Mimashita. I'll have to see if I can track this down from the Twitter. Bastard, I never watched the original thing. It's 19 or 13 episodes. I guess it's a Netflix. Okay, Bastard anime on Netflix. I'm sure we might see that over here eventually. Beautiful Daydreamer. That's a look. Wow. Huh. Game story, any theme song is called this. If half your description is the ending theme song is sung by these girls, and like, that's not a fucking surprise. It's just what happens. But sports, really? I don't know. Whatever. It's a short one episode. Anyway, moving along. Chojigen Game Neptune, the animation. Neppu Darake no Festival. Right, don't really care about that. Moving on. Eiyu o Bu o Kiwameru Tame Tenseisu mini anime. Didn't watch Eiyu o da, so we'll move on from there. Exception on Netflix. Each member of the team is output by biological 3D printer. That's interesting. Horror for sci-fi thriller. Was not going to watch it. It's Tatsunoko doing it. Was not going to watch that probably. Futaribun no Shoumei. Another short directed by some people. Didn't watch that. Ninga Eiyu Densetsu Di Noyetese Sakubo. Sequel to Collision. Okay, well, if you're still watching Legend of Galactic Heroes, there you go. Stone Ocean Part 2. We need to get back to that. We haven't done it yet. Maybe eventually we'll get back to it. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I guess, like, I don't know why I fell off of Stone Ocean. It's been pretty cool, but also I think it's been pretty brutal as well. So, Jongtama Pong, special. Didn't watch or do anything. Kage Jitsu. I've seen so many of these on YouTube, and I don't know anything about Kage no Jitsu no Kyusha ni Narita Kute. Didn't watch that. This is the Rent a Girlfriend mini anime. Didn't watch that. Right. Weird that this is, I guess it's ONA specials. Here's how I sum this up. So, have you seen Lupin Zero yet? You need to watch it, but man, that fucking opening song can just stop. It is that over and over for the entire, it's fucking sucks. It is, I do not like it at all. And yet, the ending sequence is Lupin 68, but it's an Afrobeat Lupin 68, and it's really good. And Lupin Zero has been really fun. I really like it. The ending sequence looks awesome. Ian's gonna come in at some point and yell at me, probably. But yeah, go find the opening sequence to this and watch it, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, the ending theme is great. You know, we got that whole like Warutsapi Sanjuhachi Kono te no naka ni, like, oh man, they just it's that Ian's the bigger Lupin fan than I am, obviously, right? He's also a bigger Gundam fan than I am, definitely. But we have watched Lupin. He's watched more than I have, but we have both watched Lupin, and we, you know, both have that kind of like, this is so good. Coming back to that music thing again, Lupin music being that spy music thing that you get the kind of how this all relates. Like you always know that, but like Lupin's music, like the music is all very like evocative of that kind of thing. And there's lots of reimagined Lupin music that shows up in Lupin Zero, and this is fun. Is it the best Lupin they've made? I don't know. I mean, Lupin Part 4 and Lupin Part 5, really good Lupins. Lupin Part 4 I really liked. The more recent Lupins that they have done have been really good, you know, tight feeling things, story arcs when they want to do them, standalone episodes when they don't. I've only seen about 3 episodes, I think, this so far. It is very much like very loose, like it's all episodic, whatever. But I will give them this. It's all animated in the old style. It's all 16:9. But everything about it looks like it is cell to film. And I don't think it's all hand-drawn. I think it's all filters. But there's something so cool about watching like 70s, 80s era look from a modern series. Just go watch it. You'll see what I mean. Like this, I think maybe every Lupin show these days, at least probably in the last like 15, 20 years, has been a labor of love to Lupin all the time. And this is that too. It is goofy and stupid where it needs to be, which is practically all the time. It has its serious moments, like that kind of thing. And the fact that it looks like you're watching the old Lupin Part 1, Lupin Part 2 is really immersive for a show that is taking place, what essentially feels like it's taking place in the Showa era a lot. Like you can see here, there's like the Fiats and what, like there's, I don't think that's a Fiat specifically. I think that is probably like a specifically Japanese car. feels like the older Toyotas and stuff. So maybe like the 60s, this is taking place in the 60s and 70s. There are no cell phones. Maybe it's older than that. It does definitely feel post-war though, but I mean also Yoko, who is the Fujiko stand-in, who is a fully grown fucking adult, she has that look of the 40s and 50s kind of siren, but yeah, it's hard for me to place this. This is Arsène Lupin. This is Lupin's grandfather. We get to meet him. There are titties with nipples in this. That was a shock. I was like, wait, when is this being shown? Where is this being shown? This is nude boobs out in the open, whatever. This is Lupin's dad. They are having a bit of a row over our third Lupin here, about whether he should be a thief or not. And like I say, if you like Lupin, this is really good. Like, I don't know if like this is like an approved Monkey Punch wrote all this stuff down before. Did Monkey Punch pass away, or has he just stopped working? But this feels like it feels so official, and I really like it, and I'm actually a little sad now that I see that we're only getting 6 episodes of it, because I'm like, I could take 26 episodes of this. This is a rollicking good time. But maybe it's what I want is I just want more modern Lupin. Like I want or maybe what I want is I want more adult Lupin. This has a lot of like kid stuff though. Like one of the episodes we watched, Lupin's like, I need to have a hideout. I can't live at home anymore, so I need to make myself a hideout. And so he draws a blueprint. And it is like every kid draws a secret base. And Lupin's in high school, right? But it's still like, or maybe middle school. I'm not really entirely certain, but it's like the way every kid draws a secret base. We get to see how Jigen gets his lighter. That's cool. Jigen just shows up and has a gun, and I yelled at him like, why does that kid have a gun? And then 3 seconds later, somebody on the screen goes, why does that kid have a gun? And I'm kind of like, oh good, we're all a part of this. We're all doing this together. It's ridiculous and fun, and I do recommend watching this because man, it's a treat. I think if you're not a fan of Lupin, maybe you wouldn't like this, but I think it's such a short thing, and it's like it's episodic, and it's 6 episodes, and it's like, yeah, give it another shot. Maybe you like this. And I'm so happy that we didn't just get like this look. I'm glad that we got the look that we did, the very classic look to it, because it's so I think that just makes it even more fun to feel like we're uncovering like a lost animated treasure from the old days. And I don't think that means that every Lupin has to be made to look like that, but there's just something really special about watching, here's a throwback. It's like when he was younger, should look like it came from a long time ago. So yeah, moving on. Made in Abyss. I've stopped watching Made in Abyss because I just can't. Nanatsu no Taizai. I never watched. Wait, is this the one I'm thinking of? I didn't watch it anyway. Moving on. Onna no Sono no Hoshi. Manga, which I'm not watching a thing. So yeah, I didn't. Anyway, moving on. Pocket Monsters got an OVA. Well, I got something. An episode. Didn't watch that. Didn't watch Road of Naruto. Didn't watch Romantic Killer, though I have seen that show up on Netflix, but I didn't really care about it. Wizard puts this girl into a magical world project to stop population decline. It's a rom-com, and she's now surrounded by handsome guys. I'm like, all right, whatever. Shinshika no Mi Gekijo. I don't know anything about that. Shin Mai Renkinjutsu. This is the mini anime of the thing that I didn't watch. Another sort of on live thing. Tiger and Bunny Part 2. We did watch the first half of Tiger and Bunny 2. We will probably get to watch the second one eventually, but we haven't done that yet. Oh yeah, Tony Kakukawai had a new episode. I'm sure that will be fun. I guess we're getting a second season. I'll watch the second season when it comes out. Maybe I'll find this somewhere, maybe I won't. Oh, people like Romantic Killer. Okay, cool. I will keep that in mind. Maybe I'll watch an episode of that on YouTube or on Netflix and see how that goes down. Uma Yuru. Uma Musume got a short anime for the thing. I don't think I will watch or seek that out. I'm too lazy. Zen. This is the hand-drawn Star Wars short. And by Sony's Studio Ghibli because of the soot sprites. If I see it cross my path, I'll watch it. I'm sure it's only like about 2 or 3 minutes long. And that takes us to winter, and it is 2:43, and we are just going to jump in, not take a break. We're going to just jump in and do it. I'm going to have a drink. Like I just showed you I had a drink. And now we'll move into winter. So I hope you enjoyed stuff from 2022 autumn, and it is now 2023. Boy, that feels like the future still. Yeah. I think I have some things in my list already for stuff that I'm looking forward to here. Thank you for your comments so far, everybody. I have been trying to read as many as I can as I've been flying through this, but I appreciate that. And now we will see what the new season's going to come up with and see what everybody else is going to be watching, because I'm sure you guys will all chime in. Ars no Kyoju. The story takes place in the Age of Swords, Heroes, and Myths. Giant beasts created the land, but then humans stole that land. That sounds familiar. This angered the beasts, who then started eating humans in order to fight back. Humans called upon the gods. That's a lot. The Kyoju beasts started spreading around the world, causing great damage, but humans fought back on the Kyoju. Humanity also prospered by using the dissected parts of the beasts. Jiro is a man who escaped death, and he hunts Kyoju to earn a living. He meets 22nd Kumi, Kumi the 22nd probably, who's being chased by someone. Jiro and his friends start to uncover the secrets of this world. I don't know. I'm not always really a fantasy guy. I will probably not watch that. Ayakashi Triangle. Japan may be brimming with mysterious monsters called Ayakashi, but they have a special exorcist ninja force to counteract the threat with thighs. So many. Look at the Zeta Ryoiki right there. Look at the thighs. She's probably wearing a swimsuit, I'm sure. More legs. So many legs. These ones are, she's in really tight whatever. Anyway. Young Exorcist Ninja Matsuri spends his days fighting Ayakashi. Wait, was there a boy in here? Is that the boy? Is that our dude? Is that the dude? Whatever. Maybe that's our dude. Anyway, protects his childhood friend Suzu, but when Ayakashi cat named Shirogane shows up, things get turned upside down. Probably not going to watch that. Benria Saito-san, Isekai Niku. I was reading this. Handyman Saito in the Other World. Okay, this is actually kind of interesting because the manga is odd. It kind of feels like it's somebody just got up one day on Pixiv and says, I'm just going to draw some shit, and they did. And I don't know if this actually turned into real manga or not, or if it was just real kind of loose. I'm going to draw some 4-panel, 6-panel stuff, but it's interesting because the adaptation of it is kind of an interesting idea, and it's a little by the numbers, but also not terrible. And it's about this guy who he gets sucked into this other world because he dies or whatever, and people didn't kind of just like, oh, you came over to do a locksmithing, you came over to unlock my door. It's like, yeah, that'll be like 10,000 yen or whatever, and they're like, you were here for like 3 minutes, and he's like, yeah, it'll be. I unlocked your door. And he's just kind of doesn't understand. People don't appreciate him for all the handyman stuff that he does. And he gets sucked into this other world. But you know what they need in this world is they need people to go into dungeons and who can open treasure chests and open doors. And I don't know about disarming traps, but we'll see. And he can also repair things because he knows how to repair stuff. And it, as they say, beginning with a simple thank you, this is the story of an ordinary person's fulfilling life. And I love this idea of he's just a handyman, and all I've wanted for all of these isekai where a normal person gets pulled into it who has I'm a normal guy and I'm doing normal things, all I've ever wanted is just, and that's what they do. That's the job they fulfill. They get good at it. Maybe they're even become the best at it. But they don't become OP, and they don't become the focus of thousands of the 2 nations don't fight a war over this one person. That's not what I want. We talk about, Ian has mentioned this before, and he's right. We talk about adult people doing adult jobs in an adult world getting an anime. And sometimes, I'm an adult person doing an adult job, which is this is a weird adult's job, but it is a lot of adults have jobs like this now. And it is an odd job. And I won't ever be in the next Knives Out film. We just watched Knives Out and Glass Onion, which is, I won't ever be starring in that. That's fine. But we have fans. You come here and watch me 320. You come here and watch me do this thing. There's an adult's job, and an adult is doing it, talking about cartoons. And you as adults are watching and enjoying it and hopefully putting money in the Patreon or at YouTube or telling your friends about this kind of thing or just having a fun time, right? And I'm like, that's okay. Sometimes it's okay to live a life that is remarkable. This is the fact that I do this, I find very remarkable. And the fact that you enjoy it, I find that remarkable as well. I'm living a life that is remarkable, but it's also not, I'm not the goddamn prime minister. I'm not like world famous. And sometimes that's okay, right? That feels pretty good. You can eke out a wonderful existence doing lots of interesting things. It's why we have obituaries to cover some of the stuff that people have done, to be like, look at an interesting life that person led. I didn't think I'd end up here. And that's why I like seeing stuff like this, where it's like, this guy didn't think he'd end up there, but he's become appreciated for it in a way that he never felt that he was being appreciated for previously. I'm sure like the lockpicking lawyer never thought that he would become like a big fucking deal putting his stuff on YouTube, but he is a big deal for a lot of people. Millions of people go and watch his videos, right? And I'm like, that's got to feel pretty good to be like, people trust me and because I'm good at what I do. And so there's a subset of people in the world who can appreciate stuff like that. So I like this, to find out that it's like, maybe this guy didn't get appreciated in the world he was in, but he found a world in which he had to go to another world, but he found a world in which he was appreciated. And I think that's kind of cool. So anyway, moving forward, I am watching that. Buddy Daddies, I don't know if I'm watching this. Seems like, he's a loose cannon and he does it by the book, or he likes to assassinate people and he doesn't ever shoot his gun, but he has one, or I don't know what it's going to be like. But PA works, adults doing adult things. We'll see. I might watch this. We'll see how that goes. Bungo Stray Dogs, 4th season. Didn't watch Bungo Stray Dogs, so move on from there. Card Fight Vanguard, Will plus Dress, season 2. This is the 4th season of Overdress. Well, I mean, she doesn't look overdressed. Moving on. D4 DJL Mix, didn't watch the original. Dungeon ni Dei wo Motomeru no wa Machigatte iru daro ka 4. Huka Sho Yakusai Hen. Second Kura, the 4th season of this. I didn't watch any of it, so moving on. Eiyu o Bu o Kiwameru tame tensei su, soshite Sekai Saikyo no Minarai Kishi Ara Ara. Ara Ara. I have no idea how you would say that otherwise. Ara Ara. I'd have to, if my voice was a little higher, maybe that would come across properly. After living a life, I'm not even going to watch this. So, Reborn as a Beautiful Girl, now a daughter, his country, he becomes a beautiful girl, he does the whatever. I'm not going to watch this, I'm going to move on. Flaglia, I'm kind of moving fast because I also have to be done in like 40 minutes, so please enjoy this if you are going to watch it. I just don't think I'm going to watch comedy, fantasy, whatever. If it's good, I'll probably hear from you later on. So, mixed media project spanning anime and a musical. The anime say, okay, you know what? I owe it to you to read the thing, though. All right, let's read the thing. After living a life devoted to serving his country and people, Inglis's one wish is to be free of a king's burden and to train was actually heard, but as a beautiful girl. Reborn in the far future as a daughter to renowned knights, Inglis can now focus on mastering the martial arts. A wish has been granted, and Inglis will be the one on the front lines, fulfilling the dreams of becoming the strongest knight. There. I have read it. I should try to do that. Flaglia, Natsuyasumi, that's vacation, no Monogatari. So vacations, the story of the vacation. A mixed media project spanning anime and a musical. The anime side of the project is set in the present day, while the musical is set in the Middle Ages era. What a neat story. Moving on. High Card. After discovering that his orphanage was on the brink of closing due to the financial stress, Finn, who was living freely on the streets, set out for a casino with the aim of making a fortune. Oh, is it a gambling anime? However, nothing could have prepared Finn for the nightmare that was awaiting him. Once there, Finn encountered a card chase and bloody shootout caused by a man's lucky card. Finn will eventually learn what the shootout was about. The world order can be controlled by a set of 52 X-playing cards with the power to bestow different superhuman powers and abilities to the ones that possess them. With these cards, but people can access the hidden power of the buddy. Oh, they have stands that can be found within themselves. There's a secret group of players called High Card, who have been directly ordered by the King of Foreland to collect the cards that have been scattered throughout the kingdom while moonlighting as employees of the luxury car maker Pinochle. Scouted to become the group's 5th member, Finn soon joins the players in a dangerous mission to find these cards. However, Who's Who, the rival car maker obsessed with defeating Pinochle, and the Klondikes, the infamous mafia family, stand in the way of the gang. A frenzied battle among these card-obsessed players, fueled by justice, desire, and revenge, is about to begin. Please enjoy it. Thought it was a gambling anime. Hikari no O. Outside the magical barriers lies a world overrun with fiery beasts known as flame demons. You all call me Flame Demon. And the only ones who can protect humanity are the fire hunters. In the dark woods where the beasts roam is where Toko, a young villager, is rescued from attack by one of these skill trackers, Koshi. But their meeting was no accident and a new destiny begins. Feels a little dramatic fantasy. And from the looks of it especially, I get kind of a Grimgar feeling of it too. Maybe some stuff will happen. Interesting. Cardcaptor Yakuza, that's really good. That's good doodles. Jesus. All right, probably not going to watch that. Hyoken no Majutsushi ga Sekai o Suberu. The Arnold Academy of Magic is a school for the elite, and Ray White is just your ordinary guy. In fact, he doesn't seem particularly skilled with magic at all. That's probably him, and is a bit of a klutz, which is why he has nothing to do with the rumor that one of the great magicians, the Iceblade Sorcerer, is a member of the incoming class. Right? Right! I probably won't watch that. Ichiranaide Nagatoro-san, second attack. I will be watching this. Don't Leave Me Alone, Nagatoro. This is an old joke from Don't Leave Me Alone, Don't Leave Me Alone, Daisy, which then we changed Die Nostradamus to Don't Leave Me Alone, Nostradamus. It's all layers upon layers from when I was doing shit in university. Man, I like this series. It's so fun. And yeah, you have to get used to the fact that she's a total brat. Again, more brat anime. I like it. Not everybody would. People don't hug me. I'm scared, Nagatoro. That's a good one too, Ryder Aleph. I like that. This is definitely. Hey, can you handle a mean-spirited bullying? Then you have to. That's going to be the hard part about getting through this. But it's fun once you see that there's a relationship developing between these two. But really, the whole reason I read it is for the faces and the noodle arms. That's the whole reason I read it. That's all that's about. So, yeah, I will watch this and look forward to it. Man, there is more. It's funny to me because I'm like, man, they decided to throw some fan service into this manga because we have the old art president who is nude all the time. Then we have like, well, we have to draw. He's going to need to draw some nudes, and will Nagatoro become nude for him to draw so he doesn't draw the president? And then also there is there's the shower scene in the manga, and I'm just like, your editor must have been like, hey, time to get more readers. You need to get more readers. Please start drawing a lot of nude girls somehow. Okay, great. So yeah, anyway, but her noodle arms are kind of the one of the funniest parts about watching or reading the manga, and I only wish that they keep doing more and more of that in the series. But moving on, I'm gonna watch that. Wow, you can just tell from the camera angle. Inu ni nattara suki na hito ni hirowarete. They say every dog has his day. That's especially true for our protagonist, who's just turned into a dog and now lives every day under the skirt of his crush, Inukai-san. She happily dotes on her new companion, and while he wants to return to human form someday, this is pretty fucking good. I can put my face wherever I want, enjoy lives through the eyes of a in a chair dog, as my life as Inukai-san's chair dog. Yeah, ecchi sure is. Probably not going to watch. Man, they're all that, the thick thighs. Anyway, moving on. Isekai non Birinoka. I'm reading this. Let's go over what it's about. Life cut short by illness at just 39 years old, Machio Hiraku knows not to take simple blessings for granted. When a godlike figure gives him a chance No, sorry. When a godlike figure given a chance to live again, Hiraku only has the simplest of wishes for his new life: to be healthy, to live peacefully, to speak the local language, and to spend his days in an idyllic farm. Fresh air, sunshine, honest work, and good company combined to form the happy, peaceful existence Hiraku's always dreamed of. This is a lie. He wishes for all these things, and the god is like, yeah, but come on, buddy, you should want something else. And he's like, fine, I want a tool to work the land that can be any tool and it never breaks. And the god's like, okay, I'll give you a tool that can work the land. It can be any tool that you can imagine and it will never break. And also it's overpowered. So when you're using it, you never get tired. And he's like, sounds great. That actually sounds relaxing as shit. And he shows up, and eventually, girls and beast girls and dragon girls and vampire girls and every girl iteration you can think of shows up to hang out with him. The manga's fun. That's what it is. It's fun. It's just, and lots of kids. Yeah, all these kids show up. And just hundreds of girls. And I feel like that's almost just because it was like, fine, you want more girls? Here, have 100 girls just showing up over and over. But it is very much light novel. Like you can tell, not even that, it feels very much phone novel. It feels like a cell phone novel. All the manga chapters feel very short, feel like they are descriptions of shit that is going on, probably very little dialogue. Here is a thing that he is building and doing some stuff. Here is the conversations and stuff going on. Here is me establishing, essentially making a brand new kingdom in the middle of this weird forest where nothing can kind of grow or do anything. The god's happy about that. People living around him are probably less happy about that, but they don't really know what's going on because he lives in this giant monster forest and da-da-da-da. And yeah, it's like, all right. And then I forgot about this. Account Made for Ants points out a very important thing. There is that point where every girl is like, we need his seed. We need to have babies we need to be making more kids because we need to be establishing population, and he is the only one who will be the one giving us. And he's like, shit, how do I avoid all of this? Can I avoid all of this? Because they are going to fuck me into submission. Oh no. Yeah. So there's a lot of that going on. And I can't remember if he ever avoids it all or not, but they thankfully put all of that. It's so uninteresting as an idea that it gets shoved to the side, that it's like, there, he's going to sleep with this one and maybe this other one and maybe this other one, and we're just gonna shove all that shit to the side, and don't worry, they'll have kids eventually and the kids will pop up and he'll be a dad kind of ish, but he has to be a dad to like, and it's like, yeah, it's so just dropped as a thing. It's like, I guess I have to do this, I'm not gonna talk about this. Yeah. It's like, and then the kids start showing up, and it's like, okay. But what I want to talk about is farming and building houses and building it. I feel like sometimes the people who write manga like this, it's like kind of have that same idea that I have, where they're like, but all I want to do is draw floor plans. All I want to do is design cool secret bases. All I want to do is like, I want to draw how the farm works. I want to draw the canals and the irrigation systems and all the other stuff. I want to just draw all this shit. Can I just do that? And the editor's like, yeah, you totally can. But can you draw some hot chicks and have them fuck? And he's like, I'm assuming it's a he. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I mean, I guess I could work some hot chicks into my story. And I guess, like, well, we're not going to publish you unless you do it. I guess I'll work some hot chicks into the story and I'll make them fuck, and then I'll just go back to drawing all of my architecture stuff and that I want to do. It's kind of how it always feels to me whenever I see stuff like this. So yeah, I just want to play Harvest Moon, and I want to go the way that I want all the time. And so yeah, does that mean ridiculously OP man at the head of the thing? Sure it does. I'm reading it. It's fine. It's like, yeah, it sure is its thing. It's definitely, it's candy. That's what it is. It's candy. And I'm not even saying it's eye candy. It's just, it's candy. And sometimes it's nice to eat candy. And that's what this is. And I'm going to watch to see what the adaptation's like. That's where I was going with all of this. I'm going to watch this to see how well it adapts it, because it's a light novel made into a manga. Maybe this adapts the manga. Maybe it adapts the light novel more. Whatever. We'll see how it shakes out. At least it's not slavery. Moving on. What a fucking dire thing to have to say about an isekai manga that's just like, oh my god, at least it's not slavery. That, if that becomes the tagline for the anime roundup from now on, I am just gonna be sick. Anyway, Bofuri is getting a sequel. This is Itai no wa iya nanode bo gyoryoku ni kyokufuri shitai to omoimasu ni. It's the second season of this. I think this is fun. This, again, is another, it's a VR MMOs, right? It's like, it's another world, but it's a game, and so there's gaming shit, and there's admins and stuff like that. And yeah, I think this one is actually quite fun for a lot of the VR MMO stuff. She's not trapped in the game. They're just playing the game. There's new things that come out all the time. And yeah, again, kind of... S Blue says, it's super mid and predictable. Yeah, right. It's also cute and comfortable. Yeah, right. That's... There's nothing to feel bad about here. It's just kind of like, this is, again... It's potato chips, right? It's like, this is fun and it's good and it's kind of happy and it's fun to see the OP shit evolve, because again, it comes right down to Maple can't be stopped. As long as you remember that our main character here, Maple, no matter what happens, she's just always gonna pull through and always find new hidden stuff in the game that the admins didn't even know existed, and she just does that shit, and it's like, whatever. And it's like, yeah, that's what happens. And it's the kind of thing where you're like, you watch this, you're like, now I want to try doing that and see if I can make some stuff happen. It's like, sure, why not? I'm going to watch it. Heather and I watched the first season. We'll probably see if I can drag her into watching the second season. Maybe she'll enjoy it. And it was fun. Moving on. Kaiko sareta ankoku heishi. Sorry, wow. I almost said Sanju, and then I stopped myself so I could say 30. I don't know why I would do that. Kaiko sareta ankoku heishi Sanju dai no slow na second life. It's the Second Life anime, clearly. That must be what it is. The story centers on Dariel, a soldier in the Dark Lord's army who cannot use magic. Instead, he wields his intellect and initiative as an assistant to one of the Dark Lord's most trusted captains. Here it comes. But when the captain is summarily replaced, Dariel also loses his privileged position and is fired. I'm guessing that's Dariel there, fighting for the Dark Lord. That's probably the Dark Lord, I guess. In disappointment, he retires in a village of humans, getting a new start at life by using his abilities to accept requests for help. Seems kind of interesting, right? Like, it's... I want to live a slow life in a human village. This is, there you go. That is not the Dark Lord. Thank you, Duwani. Yeah, this is, and Duwani also says this is a good, that is a good manga, or the previous one. Okay, I'm not going to do that. Let's just go from here. I don't know if I'll watch this or not. We'll see. Definitely seeing the, I saw a PV for this and I was like, big boobed lady person that he's going to get to know right away. How do I feel about that? Especially big cleavage boobed lady, right? Oh, another cleavage boobed lady, right? It's like, okay, how do I feel about that? Does that give me sense of, hey, you should watch this because big cleavage, whatever? I don't know. It doesn't say ecchi down here. Maybe it's just what it is, right? So ignoring that, then it's like, okay, slow life. Those have been fun. But I have watched a lot of slow life, not isekais, but just slow life hero things, where I've been like, and then the show gets more dire, or other things happen, and we have to work some adventure into this, because otherwise I can't keep making manga out of it. And sometimes that bugs me too, because I never really know, when does the twist come where all of a sudden things get way too complicated, and now I'm out. But whatever. We'll see. Maybe I'll watch it. I don't know. Kamitachi ni Hiroarita Otoko 2. I didn't watch the first one, did I? Oh, I did. This is By the Grace of the Gods. This is the boy given grace of the gods. So yeah, I will definitely be watching this. This is about the kid who is actually like a 40-year-old man, isekai, and he trains slimes. And I love that idea of, I find a way to make slimes useful in different ways, and how just kind of happy and upbeat it is. it's really good for that. If you like kind of a, chill thing that is focused on, some nice things happen to a boy who seems nice and he comes up with fun ideas to train his slimes and use his slimes for. And also in the manga, there's been a little more action recently because of the lyra birds that show up, lima birds, whatever they're, lemur birds, whatever they are. There's been a bit more of that, and a bit more of like, oh, that fantasy whatever, that now you have a special version of a thing, and like that kind of stuff. But really, it's all about the slimes, and that's fun because it's like he's becoming the only one who knows things about slimes, because he's the only one who's really like adopted the scientific mindset of how to work with slimes and what happens when you evolve them and how they evolve and how they act. And it's really interesting, I think, that he's taking that mindset too and bringing it to this world, but he's really just focused on his slimes, and he really likes them. And I like that too, because I like that they also feel like they have a personality, and they're the first slimes I've seen in a while that either haven't been erotic, that's a thing, which I don't mind, but also haven't also been Dragon Quest slimes. They're the first slimes I've seen in a while where it's like, oh, these are appealing, and they're also not Dragon Quest slimes, which are super cute, and I like them too. And I'm like, oh, slimes are great. So yeah, we have a raid. Hi, damn soul. Thank you for raiding. Anyway, moving on. I'll be watching that. Kori Zokusei Danshi to Kuru na Doryo Joshi. The ice boy and the cool girl. I can't remember what this is anyway. Iceman and the cool girl, woman. Anyway, the setting is a workplace where a snowy white romance blows in like a blizzard. Himuro is a descendant of Yuki Onas, living in a modern times, and he's a newbie office worker. You can tell he's the white-haired one. When he gets emotionally overwhelmed, he ends up causing blizzards or starts building snowmen and igloos. Whenever his secret romantic feelings for his unique yet kind coworker Fuyutsuki, which I think is her? Maybe it's her. I can't remember again. I think it's her. Maybe it's not. Maybe it is her. Fuyutsuki intensify, he sometimes ends up freezing those around him. Then there's Fuyutsuki. Everyone always sees her as the cool type, but Fuyutsuki is actually also pretty curious about her mysterious coworker Himuro. Their relationship continues to gradually evolve daily through work and work events. Eventually they start to spend time with each other outside of work. But they're both a bit awkward when it comes to love, so they can't seem to get closer. A heartwarming workplace fantasy rom-com starring a seemingly cool couple is about to begin. Yes! Okay, I'm into this all the way. Yes, absolutely. I mean, I was into it before. I saw the PV earlier and I was like, yeah, watching this. Heather's actually interested in watching this rom-com that's just a little supernatural but looks fun. Also, I see some Nekomimi there, so we're going to have a cat girl show up at some point. Whatever. Sounds great. I'm down with this. This sounds awesome. Also, I think he's supposed to be keeping his snow powers a secret, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. It is a manga, so maybe somebody else might know, but I'm going to move on. Kubo-san wa Mobu no Yurusanai. I'm reading this. I'm reading Kubo-san. Kubo Won't Let Me Be Invisible. And I think it's super cute. It is definitely that kind of wish fulfillment manga about Shiraishi, who is, he's invisible. He's not invisible. He's socially invisible. People don't see him. He's so unobtrusive. He has no presence. And so they play that up as him being like invisible, that he can be sitting in class and somebody would be like, where's Shiraishi? And they kind of look around, they don't see him. And then even like looking, like scanning past him, they don't see him. And then he'll say something and they'll be like, oh, there he is. Okay, cool. I always lose track of you in a crowd. I always lose track of you in the classroom. I lose track of you sitting in your desk where you're assigned to sit. That's just what you're like. So Junta Shiraishi has just one goal, to experience youth to the fullest, but this is easier said than done. Junta is so socially invisible that people at school would swear he skipped class even when he's sitting right behind them. Everything changes when Junta meets Nagisa Kubo, sorry. She's the only person who pays Junta any attention, and her constant teasing is sure to turn Junta's quiet life upside down because Kubo won't let him be invisible. Now, teasing, this is not Takagi-san style teasing. That's a great series, by the way, Teasing Master Takagi-san. But she does think he's interesting. And I think she thinks he's cute, but maybe that's not clear from the beginning. But it is a rom-com. And the manga's been great. And it's also, the Shueisha has a manga plus, and it is also, I think, free. Certain chapters are free or whatever. But it's nice, it's lighthearted. It is definitely, if you ever feel like somebody who nobody ever sees, and then like the cutest girl in class notices you and wants to talk to you all the time. But hey, sometimes that is romantic comedy, is that the kind of nondescript main character catches the eye of the cute girl, and that's okay as well. But they're both shy about it too. Like, she's not shy about talking to him and teasing him or doing whatever. But when the time comes, when she really is starting to realize her own feelings, she is shy about it. And the friends are all great too. There's There's a great scene where they do a what is it? A 6-legged run, a 7-legged, 5-legged, 6-legged run. As an activity for the class, they have these. They're doing a 6-legged run. I'm like, I have no idea how you get a track wide enough to do this. But it's like 5 people, 6 legs. I think is how it all works out. So you tie all the legs together, which is part of what. I mean, it's why I had yelled out for the last Loading Ready Run Olympics, or sorry, Summer Games. I had mentioned at one point we need to do a multi-person legged race, not just 2 people. We need to do more because I saw that and thought it looked so fun. And I think I forgot to mention it, but somebody else brought it up again, and so that's why we ended up doing it. And I was like, thank God I mentioned it out loud when I saw it, because I thought it was a great idea. I think Heather might have brought it up, or maybe Corey brought it up, or whatever, but somebody else brought it up, and I'm like, it's so fun. That's not a major plot point in the story. I mean, it is kind of because it's later in the manga, but it's fun. We're not going to see this. We're not going to see the 2 of them get together at the end of 12 episodes. It's not going to happen. But we will see, like, oh, isn't this nice? And go read the manga is kind of how this shakes out. I'm watching to see how they adapt it. We'll move on. Kyoko Suiri, Season 2. I don't know what this is. I didn't watch the first one. Kotoko and Kuno team up to solve a mystery between a human and a Yuki Onna. Okay, maybe there. I don't know. Looks cute, though. Huh. If you've watched it and enjoyed it, congratulations, you have a 2nd season of it coming. Maybe I will have to think about picking that up. I will forget about this by the time I get home, but at least it's now in my list. Might have to read more about it. Kyuketsuki Sugushinu 2, 2nd season of this crazy looking vampire comedy thing. I didn't watch that. I hope you enjoy it if you did. Majutsu Orphan Hagure Tabi Urban Ramahen. If you liked Sorcerer, Stabber, Orphan, whatever the hell it's called, hey, the reboot, there is more. Please enjoy the 3rd season. Mao Gakuin, it's Magic Academy. Demon Lord Academy. Mao Gakuin no Futeki Gosha, Shijo Saikyo no Mao no Shiso, Tensei shite Shishon Tachi no Gakoe Kayo ni. First quarter of the 2nd season of whatever that was. I didn't watch it. Please enjoy it. Oh, there's some people here who really enjoyed it. Awesome. Mononogatari. Not Monogatari, but Mononogatari. Filled with rage against spirits known as Tsukumogami. Tsukumogami? Yeah, Tsukumogami Kunato Hyoma is sent to live with Nagatsu Botan to help him see a different side. Though both are part of a clan that returns spirits back to the world with divine powers, their experiences with the otherworldly vessels are vastly different. Kunato, robbed of a loved one, and Nagatsuki, saved by them. Can she get through to him? Who's to say? Definitely not part of the other Monogatari series. It doesn't look like a Shaft thing at all. I don't think I'll be watching it, though. Moving on. Mo Ippon. Oh, right, the judo series. After one last tournament and an embarrassing loss in the final round, Michi decides to call it quits on the sport of judo. Between high school social activities and entrance exams, she'll have no time to compete in the martial arts she loves most, but putting aside old hobbies is a normal part of growing up. Still, the love of judo lingers, and it comes back full force when she meets her new classmate, Toa, the girl who bested Michi in her final match. Toa wants to form a judo club at their school, but she'll need new members to get it up and running. United by their love of judo, they'll throw in their passions into the ring together and score Ippon again. Mo Ippon. Another Ippon. No, I won't be watching that, I don't think, but hey, it'll probably be fun. Please enjoy. Nier Automata version 1.1a. I think I heard they were making this. Nier. I wonder if I should watch. Okay, I'll add it to maybe watching just to get a sense of the. I mean, obviously, 2B is hot. We've covered that already, but yeah, I might watch it. We'll see. It could be really well animated. I mean, the hope is it's A1 Pictures, so you're like, but the hope is it could be really well animated and really interesting, or it could not be. But it is Nier Automata. It is version 1.1a, which means that hey, maybe it's a twist a little bit. Who knows what's going to happen? So the PV's gorgeous. Barbara Black Sheep says, cool. Well, then we'll see what happens. Ningen fushi no boukensha tachi ga sekai o suku yo desu. That's cool. Ninja Girl? Maybe? Who knows? Let's see. Nick used to be a member of a veteran adventurer party, helping his undisciplined friends with the accounts whenever he could. With the accounts, interesting. But what was his reward? Getting accused of embezzlement and kicked out by the leader respected? Oh no, oh no. Before long, he finds a few other jaded adventurers and kindred spirits, and together they form their own unstoppable party. Oh. I would be like, they form their own accounting firm, which would be interesting, but combat accountant, I like this. Yeah. There's probably there's a lady there. There's probably characters in the background you can't see. There's our boy, I'm sure, and then there's another girl from the whole thing. Maybe it's a thing. The rejected party member thing does come up a lot, doesn't it, Doodles? It sounds like a lot. This just sounds like it's he has to. What I'm getting from this is I was a member of an adventure party, and then I got kicked out, and then I formed a new party. That's all I see here. There's nothing about this description that says him being this accounting guy is important to the task. So I don't think I'm going to watch this. It doesn't really matter. Anyway, Noke Monotachi no Yoru. Wisteria is an orphan girl, probably there, living in a corner of the British Empire at the end of the 19th century. Her life is desolate and bleak until she encounters Malbus, a powerful but equally lonely immortal being with a furry appearance hunted by hunters. Wait, we got this already. This was the Ancient Mage's Bride. Anyway, together, Wisteria and Malbus roam the Empire, populated by humans and human-like beasts in search of a place where they can live together in peace. Oh, interesting idea. I don't know if I'll watch it. I really just want more Ancient Mage's Bride. Jesus. But I don't want the college arc. I don't give a shit about the college arc. It's like, oh, we need to do something else, so let's go to college. It's like, I don't care. Don't stop putting people in schools. I'll watch a school thing. I don't mind that, but don't take something that is, but then do. Anyway, I don't think I'm going to watch this. Please enjoy it if you are. Oni-chan no Shimai. I'm not going to watch this. Anyway, Mahiro Oyama was just a normal aero game loving dude until he woke up one morning as a woman. Turns out his mad scientist little sister Mihari tried out one of her new experiments on him with a disastrous outcome as far as Mahiro's concerned. But Mihari is as determined to study him as he is determined to go back to his shut-in game playing life, and one thing's for sure, life is going to get a whole lot weirder from here on out. As a rule, I'm not a fan of involuntary gender bending. I dislike that as a trope. That's pretty much why I'm not gonna watch this. I can't think of any other reason why I wouldn't. I mean, maybe it's facile too, but what do I know? Anyway, moving on. Oyukiumi no Kaina, a world blanketed by an endless, never-growing ocean of snow. The people eke out a living, either huddled around the roots of enormous trees dotting the surface, or high in the canopy, which spreads over the plant's atmosphere. A chance meeting between Kaina, a youth from the canopy, and Liliha, a young one from the surface, sets off a chain of events that will change the fate of the world. Probably not going to watch that either. I don't like snow, so I might not. But yeah, looks like an interesting kind of sci-fi-ish or maybe fantasy-ish, probably going to be pretty good. I don't know for sure, though, right? Otonari no tenshi-sama ni itsu no mani ka dame ningen ni sarete ta ken. Amane lives at home in an apartment, and the most beautiful girl in school, Mahiru, lives just next door. We know that's true because they said it. They've almost never spoken until the day he sees her in distress on a rainy day and lends her his umbrella. To return the favor, she offers him help around the house. The relationship slowly begins to blossom as the distance between them closes. Straightforward rom-com. Holy shit. That sounds great as just a straightforward rom-com. I don't know if I'll watch it or not. I can't remember what the twist was. If there was a twist, I don't think there's supposed to be a twist. We'll see. We'll see. It's I don't know if I'm gonna watch it or not. I'll put maybe watching. Maybe having another rom-com in the back pocket might be interesting. Maybe there's a twist. Who knows? New Pokemon. The final chapter in Satoshi Pikachu's story. Moving on. Revenger. As Master Assassin Usui Yuen looks into a series of assassinations made on the Grand Samurai clan, the Satsuma, he encounters Kurima Raizo, member and survivor of one of the attacks. Together they discover the true nature of these murders is, bigger than over stolen resources. As they get closer to the truth, will they come out alive to exact revenge? If there's a lot of hidden stuff, that's kind of cool. Like we're discovering more and more things. The story is deeper and thicker and bigger. I don't know if I want to watch it though, so please enjoy if you're watching it. Rogo ni sonaete isekai de hachiman mai no kinka o tamemasu, or saving 80,000 gold coins for my retirement in the another world. I love saying in the another world. It's always great. Mitsuo has an 18-year-old girl who's often mistaken for middle schooler due to her childlike face and small stature. The funny thing is that there's another isekai I'm reading that has the exact same character design for another character. I start to wonder if actually all of these isekais that are like taking place with the same looking girl are all just like different timelines of the same girl. I don't know. Anyway, the story begins when she loses her parents and her older brother at the same time in an accident and ends up alone in the world. Fails her university entrance exam during the shock of losing her family. There are people who are after her parents' insurance money. She doesn't know whether she should go to college or start working. She has lots of expenses, living expenses that does. She's worried about how she survives. She's given the world jumping ability. The world jumping ability by a mysterious being that allows her to go back and forth between this world and an isekai. She can jump back and forth. She's like, you know what I'm going to do is all I have to do is go make a bunch of gold over there and then go back to my world and melt it all down into like bullion and then sell that, and then I can make actual money, and now I have money to retire with. So I need to make 1 billion yen worth of gold. So I need to make 80,000 gold coins, and she has a gun. And because she can just go back and forth by like getting stuff at the 100 yen store, but selling it in this world. And I'm just like, I always screw up which of these isekai is which, and which one does the what or whatever. It doesn't matter. This is like, yeah, not only does she have a gun, she trains with mercenaries and she hires them to be part of her mercenary troop to basically help like be frickin' like to put down revolts in other parts of the place where she it's weird. It's interesting though. I think it's interesting. So there's that. The interdimensional travel thing does come up as something that she decides to offer to people, to be like, I can take you to this other world and maybe you'll find it valuable, but I'm the only one who can do it. And every time I do it, it costs me a bit of my life, which means it costs a lot of money. By the way, that's a lie. It doesn't cost any of her life to do it. But, you know, you got to attach some value so that people don't just like kidnap her and make her do that. It's like, no, the more you make me do it, the sooner I die. So you can't make me do it a whole bunch, but maybe there's a reason to do it, that kind of thing. Anyway, yeah. It's definitely, it's like Space Trader. It's Elite Dangerous, right? She's basically like, go here, get the cheap shit, sell it for expensive in another world. You could do the same thing the other way if people were interested at all. Right, Potion Girl. That was the other one where she makes potions. She can make potions. She can make anything that, as long as it's a potion, but that means she can make the bottle anything. She can make a sword and put the potion in the hilt, but then she has a sword. She can make that just pop out of her. Yeah, they all look the same. Anyway, it's interesting too. That one's interesting anyway. So moving on. I'm going to watch this. Let's see. Saikyo Onmyoji no Isekai Tenseki. So, of course, another isekai. You can't be happy if you're just strong, even if you're the strongest exorcist in the world. Exorcist Haruyoshi Kuga, called an unrivaled genius, is betrayed by the imperial court and about to die. Resolving to be happy in his next life, he uses a secret reincarnation technique he created and reincarnates in another world. And so he receives a new name, Seika, and a new life. What I lacked in my previous life was cunning. In this life, I'll be more calculating and find happiness. With the strongest exorcist techniques and strong demons working with him, what lies ahead for him? Peaceful life he wants, or ... The start of a story no one's ever seen before. The story of the strongest exorcist in the fantasy world. Sure, moving on. Shinka no Mi, Shiranai Uchi ni Kachigumi Jinsei, second season of a thing I didn't watch. It's got this gorilla. Right, moving on. Spy Kyoshitsu. Conflict-ravaged nations now employ covert operatives instead of missiles. Lily is recruited into spy training, but her practical skills are absolutely abysmal. Desperate to pass, she leaps at the chance to join the mysterious Tomoshibi team. Too bad the team's filled with even more hopeless spies. Comedy, yes. Together they must conquer the impassable mission and best their genius instructor, but the true purpose behind their classroom is more harrowing than they can imagine, ... I don't know if I'm going to watch this either. Yeah, Spy School. Maybe I won't now. Sugar Apple Fairy Tale. In a world where fairies are bought and sold to the highest bidder, humans aren't exactly on friendly terms with the Fae folk, but friendship is exactly what Anne Halford seeks with Shal, her new fairy bodyguard, though he's not so keen on the idea. As her new master, Anne tasks him with escorting her through a particularly dangerous area with a reluctant bodyguard eager to escape a life servitude. She'll have to deal with a lot more than she bargained for. I don't know if I'm going to watch that either. Maybe it's interesting, but I don't really care. Technoroid, Overmind. Again, I have to get out of here because they're going to be playing Rhythm Cafe soon, so we're going a little fast. The story of wretched, beautiful androids ascend on the entertainment tower Babel, a new source of hope for humanity after climate change has submerged the world underwater. Well, we gave up, folks. Several unique musical units are compete to rise to the top of Babel by moving the hearts of both humans and androids with their performances. I don't know if I will. Yeah, I don't know if I will. Yeah, okay, moving on. Tensei Ojo to Tensai Reijo no Maho Kakume. Despite her supposed ineptitude with regular magic, Princess Anisfia defies the aristocracy's expectations by developing magicology, a unique magical theory based on memories from her past life. Yes, because somebody jumped over the whatever, it doesn't really matter. One day she witnesses the brilliant noble woman Euphilia unjustly stripped of her title as the kingdom's next monarch. That's when Anisfia concocts a plan to help Euphilia regain her good name, which somehow involves them living together and researching magic. Little do these two ladies know, however, that the chance encounter will alter not only their own futures, but those of the kingdom and the entire world. I'm reading this. I'm about ready to drop it. Yeah, Maji Revo, I've seen it shortened down to as well. It's interesting because I'm a princess and I'm a scientist trying to understand how magic works. But also, it basically starts with Euphilia is being the she gets like, no, the prince is like, no, I'm not going to marry you. I'm going to marry this cute little girl instead. And she's like, oh no, the villainous, I've been stripped from the whatever because I've done the thing. And so as that is happening, Anisfia like flies in the room, is like, great, whatever, you're marrying me. Get on this magical broom. We will fly to my whatever. And she's like, what the fuck are we doing? What? Like she comes in like a whirlwind and blows through it, and it's great. And then it's like, we'll talk about magicology, we'll talk about these other things. And it's fun, and it's interesting, and it's got hard Yuri's feeling like it's developing, and I'm just like, great. But then also, I feel like it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger in scope, and I was like, oh no. But now more recently, it started to draw itself back, and there's a magical theory that's developing with, hey, why do you think that other girl came along and forced you out? There's something, oh, well, let's dive into that for a bit. And I'm liking that too. But I'm also kind of fed up with it all because I'm like, I feel like it should be going way faster than it is, perhaps. I don't know. Or these two should be developing their relationship because I feel like they're supposed to have a relationship, but maybe they don't. And just like, I don't know. Anyway, I will. Okay, you know what? I will maybe watch it. We'll see what happens. The Legend of Heroes, Sen no Kiseki, Northern War. I don't know what to do about this. The war fantasy aspect is not really my jam. So I don't think I'll end up watching that. Tokyo Revengers, second season. There you go. If you're watching it, there's that thing. Tomo-chan, as you can see, I am definitely watching Tomo-chan wa onna no ko. Tomo-chan is a girl! Exclamation, exclamation. This was a goofy ass manga. It is a one note thing. It is, every chapter is a single page. So there's like 400 goddamn chapters or whatever. But it's kind of cute because Tomo was friends with Jun when they were younger, but Tomo was a tomboy and just dressed like a tomboy all the time. And, but now they are, they're in high school and she is like, hey, remember me? And he's like, what do you mean, do I remember you? It's like, I'm Tomo. And he's like, wait, you're Tomo, like the little boy I played with? And she's like, no, I was always a girl, you dimwit. And she likes him, and she tells him, and he doesn't get it, because it's like, yeah, I like you too, you're awesome. And she's like, how the hell am I gonna make him realize I'm a girl? Because Tomo-chan is a girl. And it's fun. And her friends are awesome. They're just as you see them, that is what they are, and they're great. I'm gonna watch this and probably really enjoy it. All right, moving on. Tondemo Skill de Isekai Horo Meshi. I watched the PV for this and kind of lost interest, but I think I'm gonna watch it anyway. I'm doing campfire cooking. I can summon food through the online grocery to the world, and I can cook for these beasts, and he does. I'm gonna watch it. We'll see what happens. Probably great. Trigun Stampede, sure. Let's see what happens. It's a brand new original anime series. If it is a remake, probably is, then let's enjoy this remake. I can't wait to see what happens. A reimagining maybe, whatever. So yeah, let's see what happens. They took up Millie. Oh no, I liked Millie. Oh well. Tsundere akuyaku reijo lise lotte to jikyo no Endo-kun to kaisetsu no Kobayashi-san. Let me explain this. These two are playing the romance game that this takes place in. Lise Lotte is the villainess, right? Or Kobayashi thinks that she's the villainess. Endo-kun, he thinks that she's tsundere and misunderstood. And as they are arguing about it in the real world, it turns out that the in-game fiancé can hear every word they're saying about her. And so now he's starting to pick a different path in the game. The guy makes the decision. I think that's really interesting. I don't know if I want to watch this, but I think it's an interesting idea that they talk about this. But I don't know if I want to watch it that bad, but I'll put it in the maybe pile. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Anyway, Tsurune Tsunagari no Isha. I did not watch the original, so we'll move on. Unite Up. It's a music thing about making scouting to make a group and then idols, and I'm not going to watch that, so we'll just move on. It's Cloverworks. They do pretty good work, though. Vinland Saga Season 2. Congrats if you've been watching Vinland Saga. Here's your second season of that. Buy a camper van, I guess. Move into the shorts. Now, it's 3:34. I'm going to fly through these a bit. This looks really fun. I don't know if I'll watch this. Roboco, the most powerful clumsy maid, shows up at his door. I don't know. Could be fun. Grade schooler with a powerful maid robot. Fake Grand Order's getting a short series. KJ File sequel. Nijion animation. I can't believe I've been doing this for like 4 hours and we're still not through everything. I had a lot to say about stuff that probably wasn't that valuable. Anime adaptation of their Love Live spin-off manga. I'm not watching that. Blue Lock's got his holdover. So does Boku no Hero Academia. Yes, getting more Cool Doji Danshi. Play It Cool Guys is the English title for that, by the way. I'm so happy we're getting more of that. More Eternal Boys, the mature idol project thing. Fumetsu no Anatae Season 2. I didn't watch the original, so I will not be watching that. Idolish is getting a part 2 to their thing. Kage no Jitsuro Kusha ni Naritakute. It's a holdover still. Iruma-kun's still going. The Neat Show is still going. Urusei Yatsura obviously getting more because you're up to 23 there. Yomushi Pedal is still going as well. Movies. Okay, lightning round. No. Blue Giant. Yes, probably. Let's see. Guy plays a tenor saxophone. Let's see what happens. It's going to be wild. Doraemon, no. Gridman Universe, probably not. It's a follow-up to Gridman and Dynazeon. Ian might watch that. Kin no Kuni, Mizu no Kuni. Might watch this. The Gold Kingdom, Water Kingdom, deciding that these two kids are supposed to get married to each other. They're supposed to send their best and brightest, but they don't. They send like people who are not. And maybe they'll fall in love. We'll see what happens. Meitante Conan, Haibara Ai Monogatari. So about Ai Habara's past. Mystery Chain arc from the television anime. So there you go. Enjoy that, I guess. Sasaki to Miyano Sotsukyo-hen. I didn't watch Sasaki to Miyano. Please enjoy it if you did. Fafnir is getting a peaceful spin-off. Great. Dynazenon is getting a movie. Gridman's getting a movie. Or I guess they're getting compilation films. Maybe I can just watch the compilation film. Ian will probably yell at me if I do that. Yaneura no Rudger is a boy no one can see who lives in a world where imaginations can live and be eaten by others. Ooh, that's weird. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Yokai Watch is getting a movie. Ah, yes, Aggressive Retsuko. 5th and final season. Let's go, boys and girls. Let's go, folks. Let's go, friends. We're gonna make that happen. I can't wait to see that come out. Evangelion 3.0, 46 hours. So new footage from bonus disc from 3.0. This is the reason why I don't watch the Evangelion movies at all. I haven't watched any of them yet. Is because 1.0, 1.01, 1.11, 3.0, 3.0 plus 1.0 plus 1.1. I'm waiting for them to finish the version numbers to get to a point where it's like, hey, it's all fucking done. And then I guess what the Shin Evangelion movie repeat coda, whatever the hell. When it all comes out and it's all finished, then I will watch it all, I guess, because I'll be done. Anyway, moving on. Goku Shufudo Season 2. Yeah, can't wait for that to hit Netflix. I like this manga. I'm glad that they made anime out of it. They really kind of capture it too. The sparse animation actually really feels good. Hirano to Kagiura, well, did you watch Sasaki Tomiyano? Well, guess what? These two boys are going to fall in love as well. Probably, I guess, in the laundry room. Not going to watch that, though. Junji Ito's getting a anthology series. Please enjoy that anthology series, because I sure fucking won't be watching it, but I guess a lot of you are going to love this. That's going to be on Netflix as well. Lupin the Third versus Cat's Eye. You nuts if you think I'm not going to watch this. If it's modern animation style, great. It looks like it's a little like rougher, kind of that more 80s feel, but not the Monkey Punch style. Interesting to see how this is going to come across, because I imagine they have to do good by both of them. I want to watch this. I haven't seen the Detective Conan one. I want to watch that one too at some point. Make My Day. On a cold planet of ice and snow, mysterious creatures have suddenly appeared from the dark underground and begun to attack the inhabitants. I don't know if I will watch that. We'll see, maybe if I get bored one night. Saint Seiya's getting a 3rd season. Shumatsu no Valkyrie 2 is the 2nd season of that. Slime Tachi Slime Tachi no Idobata Gai 2. More of these posted on that account. Tototsu no Egyptian 2. I didn't watch the first one. And oh my god, we reached the bottom and it's 3:39. Ladies and gentlemen, that's like everything. Holy shit. I gotta wrap this sucker up. Thanks for being with me today, though. And we've gone over a lot of stuff in here. There's the continuation stuff, getting more Retsuko and Gokushufudo, more Urusei Yatsura. There's a lot of the isekai nonsense that I'll be watching, that apparently some of you are watching too. Was there anything else that was in here that I needed to mention? The thing that the big one I'm looking forward to most of all. Trigun Stampede, that'll be very interesting to see. I'd like to see how Tomo-chan's be adapted, but Trigun I'm interested to see where that's going to go. Anything else in here? The 80,000 coins ones, I'm interested to see the adaptation there as well. Was there anything where I was like, hell yes, Nier Automata, maybe get a chance to watch that. Kubo-san, I was excited to see Kubo-san get adapted, that's right. And the ice guy and cool woman, more by the grace of the gods, again, more Bofuri, the Isekai no Burinoka as well. Nagatoro-san, excited about seeing more of that. Holy crap, there's a lot in this. I'm going to have to make more time to watch anime. What a terrible... And then Saito-san, the handyman. So yeah, kind of covered it all. This has been great, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to watch. Again, you can hit up the Patreon, patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. You can also help us on YouTube. youtube.com/loadingreadyrun is the place to go to watch stuff there, and back us with memberships and whatnot. The store at store.loadingreadyrun.com. Please go check that out too. And thank you to everybody on Twitch, of course, who watches this as well. And we will see you all next time. Thanks.